Ooh, okay. Third group, session 1. It's gonna be exciting. Gonna be super cool. And let's swap on over to them. Alright. Alright. Let's do this. Let's get into this.
Do it. Real quick, there was like a map, right, that I remember seeing.
Yeah, which, what, do you remember? I guess there
It was
was
like the world map kind of thing, yeah.
Yeah. If you go to, so right below our group, is the Book of Seorsum KBA. It's like knowledge base article. The world map is there. There's a little section.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. That's super helpful.
Yeah, it's where we're at right now. I'm gonna go ahead and pull it up too. I don't think it's really marked there so much. So in the western continent, sort of like center stage, there's a big lake essentially in the middle of that continent. There's a big city and some forests essentially surrounding it. The big city to the north of that particular lake is Salus, which is where we're at right now.
Got it.
It's a big old complicated city filled with all sorts of cultures and tries to be the democratic hub, tries at least.
Nice. Are we talking like New York City big or like bigger than that?
Yeah, we're talking about like New York City big. Pretty big. Substantial. Not like, they've got a Walmart, it's like they've got a lot of different shops and stuff.
So like millions of potential people and creatures.
Yeah, the districts are pretty big. They're relatively huge. There's just a smattering of all walks of life, and even oddities that come through it. So it's probably one of the most populated cities on the planet. So if you want it, it's very likely you could find it. However, it may not be illegal, but you might be able to find it there.
Got it.
All right, so you all are the Tales of Peculiar Kin, essentially. So, and there's a reason for that, because all of you have some kind of peculiar deal to yourselves, but obviously it may be revealed in due time. But if you want to go down and basically just tell a little bit about your character, what people may see on the surface, it might be a good idea to just kind of brief not only your teammates here, essentially, but anybody that may be listening in as to what your character is. So, Grimwald, would you like to go first?
Sure. So, see as I go along here, if I can remember what I wrote about my character. But
it's been a little while, hasn't it?
Yeah. Grimwald is a seaborn dwarf, so he has spent a lot of his life on the sea, and you can kind of tell that he has very dark black hair, but it looks like it's been weathered pretty heavily and maybe a bit lighter than it otherwise would be, having been out in the sun on the sea for a long time. So he is somebody who clearly favors practicality in looks and fashion more than trying to impress anybody. He has his hair tied back because it's more efficient and better to be out of his face. His clothes are not decorative in any manner. They're worn by sea. They're functional and warm, but he's clearly not trying to impress anybody. So he has a friendly, outgoing demeanor. You can tell he's interacted with people as a living, having ferried them between the two continents on his boat. So he's no stranger to small talk and making friends, but clearly there's something beyond that as well. He's not. It's more. He will be friendly if he is pressed to be, I guess. So
If I
but
have to.
if he has to talk to somebody, he can be nice. Yeah, exactly. No. Yeah, and so you'll see him constantly and frequently smoking a big fat cigar, and generally just practically going about his business. He's I'm trying to think of what else to describe about him. Yeah, maybe I'll leave it at that for now, and then if other things come up,
you
I'll
can reveal it in time.
Yeah,
that's okay. Eva.
Yep. So I'm playing Eva the elf. So she's normally wearing her studded leather and a cloak around. She's got her horn on her hip, and she's got some very good insights into some of the events of the Rend, seemingly from her mentor, Mira Aquila. She seems to have many different personalities and interactions depending on her, seemingly depending upon her mood in the day.
Ooh. All right, and then for the I guess so far rumored Moonbrook.
Well, for most intents and purposes, she looks human. Outside of the fact that she has dark brown brambles for hair and 2 giant elk antlers coming out of her forehead. But that is until you get to where her human waist would end, and her body turns into that of a rather large Clydesdale horse. She is of like a dusky skin tone, so it's a very dark skin tone. She stands from hoof to the top of her actual head, about 7 feet tall. She is a scout, a traveler. She's not one for cities. I'm sure you can imagine why. Being stared at all the time is definitely not something that she's a fan of. I guess that's kind of an easy place to stop. She's pretty easygoing. She just likes to run around and do her own thing, and she works as a messenger kind of between the city of Salus and the Elven city, where she is, we'll leave it at from.
That's fair. So pretty standard, other than everything about her.
I also forgot, she is covered from head to hoof in, I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but woad tattoos. I know Canon is, so he knows what those are. But they're the very typical, like, if you think of like the blue and like green tattoos that you would have, like if you were thinking of like Celtic warriors from ages gone by, those style of tattoos. On her flesh, they're blue, but then when you get down to her flanks, they stop being ink and they become moss. So it looks like moss has grown into like her fur, her hide, essentially.
Nifty.
And sorry, you said the top half, I guess, is human?
Yes. So
okay.
she looks human for all intents and purposes.
Gotcha.
Whether or not that's true, that's up for you to decide yourself, I suppose.
I'm just now, I don't know why it was brought up, but now I'm imagining like a reverse centaur. Because you're like, you say the top half? Yeah, I'm just like, ooh.
Yeah, it's the head of it's BoJack Horseman. That's just a reverse
so top heavy. You're like, oh crap. Bottom half is just regular legs.
My poor human legs.
No, bottom half is never skip leg day.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta be really just swole down there to support whatever the heck is going up on top.
Exactly.
But how does a centaur wear pants?
Oh
don't.
no!
Real question.
We don't. Look, this is one thing you'll notice. I'll point this out. This is one thing that you'll notice. She does wear like a leather corset kind of top, that covers like her chest and a bit of her shoulders and whatnot. But it's very, very uncomfortable looking. Like she does not like it.
But no horse pants then.
No,
She's a horse.
Okay.
No, there's no horse pants.
I'm glad we got that squared away.
There's horse armor, so you never know.
It's true. All right, so what I'll do is I'll read to you basically just a brief intro. It's kind of minimized now just because of the changes that we've had with the group, but you'll get a sense of kind of what you're going for, at least in the current area. I'll give you a brief rundown because I know it's been a little bit of time since we went over some stuff. There's a couple of different districts, actually probably about 4 or 5 different districts within Salus, which is the main quote-unquote human city, even though it's basically a city for practically every culture that wants to establish itself. There is the Ministry District, which has courts of all different cultures that need to be represented within the world of Seorsum, and they handle most of the bureaucracy that goes on with the day-and-day happenings within the city. Kind of boring stuff if you're not a bureaucrat for the most part. So, mostly it's political business that happens there. The market district, which is really commonplace for obviously a lot of businesses, a lot of taverns, inns, things where you would spend money. It is probably, aside from the Ministry District, probably one of the cleaner districts. It is patrolled a lot from the authorities because obviously that's where a lot of the money is coming and going. So security there is typically pretty spot on and high. There's a lot of patrols. People want to feel safe when they're spending money. So that's typically like the premise. And you all are probably relatively familiar with that area, just because you got to eat, you got to sleep. If you don't have like a permanent place within the city, you probably tavern hop whoever has the best deal at that point in time from night to night. There is the working district, which a lot of, I would say, lower income residential housing is there, as well as like some of the industry. There's a lot of like factories and production that happens there, so you'll have a lot of smithies that also exist in that particular area. It's not as well kept. The authorities typically don't care as much because it doesn't really have a lot of money coming out of it. They have a lot of raw goods and whatnot that usually ship from it, but it's typically looked as a little bit dirtier of a location. There are some places there that you can stay or get a drink if you'd like. However, it's not as reputable as places in the market district, but I mean, if you don't care, then who cares? Sometimes you just want to drink at a dive bar and whatever happens. And then there's also a farming district. It's pretty basic. They have farms that are kind of on the outskirts of the walled-in city. Because they want a self-sustaining production of food and whatnot for the entire capital. So that way, if something happens, they can exist without having to worry about going outside of the city walls. So it's pretty basic, but that's where a lot of the grains and livestock and all that good fun stuff is pretty much taken care of, slaughtered and so on and so forth. And then you have a few other places, and we'll get into the next place in a few. But that's kind of like the basic premise of the main districts within Salus that you're probably all familiar with. And now we'll go into where we're at right now. So Harvey, while not wise in all of his years, is a very clever and gregarious man. He's also kind, at least as far as Grimwald is aware. While Harvey has not always been the picture-perfect personification of morality, Grimwald was always treated rather fairly in his training, and in turn, the apprentice aided his mentor in his day-to-day life. Appreciative of all the experiences they had exchanged over the years, the Elden Wizard took it upon himself to support the cause of his stout companion, and secured substantive funding for his cause to save his home. The thoughts of those related to his research pace through the mind of Grimwald as he makes his way into the Undergutter and with his research assistant. Is it Ava? I'm pronouncing it right?
Yep, Ava.
Okay. I keep pronouncing it Eva because it's a hard E, but it's Ava. So the Undergutter, into itself, is not known by a tremendous amount of people, especially by the common folk of Salus. But some of you know of it because of the fact that it's actually home to a variety of individuals, I'll say. And it houses those individuals that are willing to typically do things that are, I would say, unsavory to a degree. Maybe not necessarily morally, but definitely unclean by some standards, especially by topsiders. Moonbrook, you're currently down in the Undergutter in one particular location that we'll get into here in a little while, but essentially you, Ava and Grimwald, are traveling down what is at the border of the Ministry District and the Market District to a large sewer outlet that is very blatantly labeled as the Undergutter. Give me 1 second. So yeah, as you guys are basically approaching this big, basically like a portcullis, you'll see multiple tubes and stuff on the side, and you were set up to essentially go to the Undergutter because the individual known as Stinky, you've probably never met Stinky before, has something of interest that may concern essentially at least Grimwald's research, or at least investigations into aether and aether related problems. And on the walls, you'll notice that there is a sign essentially right next to one of these tubes that in really scratchy writing has like a small bell, and it has like a rope attached to it that you can kind of just pull on, and it actually says ring for help, but it is very like rudimentarily scratched out. It doesn't look like it's done in any kind of neat or formal script, and obviously it looks not necessarily primitive, but just unkempt in the ways that it was kind of scrawled on this piece of board that's kind of nearby.
Sorry, what was that? My brother interrupted me.
Oh no, there's as you both approach this like portcullis into what's called the Undergutter, and you can imagine that it's essentially in the sewers. There is a bell next to what looks like a big pipe, or like one of big pipes, I would say maybe 2 or 3 feet in diameter. And there's like a bell with a sign that basically says ring for help, and it's kind of scrawled in this horrible, not really well kempt script, but you can make it out. It's basically in common.
Oh, so basically my writing.
Yes. Vis-a-vis doctor's signature. Yeah,
all right.
It's basically just Ava and Grimwald at this point in time, approaching the Undergutter, so do with it as you will. You're there.
I thought I'd never have to come back down here.
Oh, yeah, I never enjoy my time coming to the Undergutter.
All right. I guess we should get what we're doing and get out of here before the stink just permeates everything.
Yes, by all means. Care to ring the bell? I think that's what we do.
Yeah, of course. And the thing is, like, you knew you were coming here, and if you've had any experience, you are both correct. It is very smelly down here. And it's probably not the most appetizing. So if you've eaten, you probably ate a long time before you had to come here, and are prepared that once you come out of the Undergutter to thoroughly clean yourselves, because it's probably not going to be a fun day. But as you ring the bell, you start to hear almost like have you ever tossed a rubber ball or something into like, I don't know, like a sewer drain or something of that nature, and you hear something rattling just all around? There's something like that just you hear is rattling within that small pipe. I would say it's roughly about eye level. Well, maybe for Ava, not necessarily for Grimwald, but it's about eye level, and you hear this rumbling inside, like something is moving, and you hear like a little voice the kind of emanate an echo from a little bit farther back. You can't really see what's in it because it's a little bit darker and it's a little bit kind of shaded from where it seems to be coming from. Do you hear is, what password?
Password?
Yeah.
Did he give us a password?
No, not as far as you're aware.
Is it Stinky? Is Stinky the password?
And you just hear, good enough. And then and then you start to hear like the mechanisms of after this, whatever the heck it is, scurries back into the pipe and starts to the mechanisms of the portcullis start to open, gears start to crank, and it just lifts up and lifts up and lifts up. And
Grimwald kind of like just cautiously takes a couple steps back, just a little unsure of everything going on right now.
Somehow, when the portcullis lifts up, even though you step back, you just get a waft of the Undergutter's greatness and the stink that pours out of it. It is definitely unique because it is right under, well, as far as you can tell, it's under the market district. So there's probably a lot of waste that goes and falls into the gutter and kind of flushes down into those. So you're getting a nice little bouquet that's coming out of that right now with the wafting of the portcullis gate.
Important question. Do we know if Salus has plumbing?
It does. Plumbing? It does for the most part, yes.
And we can assume it goes here.
Oh yeah, you could definitely assume that.
Got it.
So as it opens, obviously you reveal, and you can step on through. The portcullis holds. There's not like a time limit. It seems to lock in place as soon as it's all the way up.
Well, Ava, shall we?
After you.
No, I insist. After you.
Alright, Ava just slowly walks in and looks around. Is it bright inside?
It's bright enough. There are lights on sconces and some actual bioluminescent mushrooms that kind of you can see kind of decorate the walls from time to time on the sides, as well as the accompanying pipes that are just kind of sticking out.
Most of the area is either bright or dim light kind of thing.
Yeah. I don't think anybody has to worry about, do I have to light up a torch or anything of that nature. It's fairly well lit. You can navigate where you're going to. And there are signs.
Oh yeah, I'm just picturing like just a very large version of a sewer with like a channel of water running down the middle and like paths on either side. Is that kind of how it is, or? Yeah, more or less. This is kind of like one of the main entrances into the Undergutter. So they make it as navigable as possible,
as acceptable as they can.
Yeah. It's not
what
like it's not obviously like up top. It is, it's not like Market Streets. It is a sewer, but it is acceptable to be able to walk through and not have to slog through the poo water.
Got it.
All right, and where did we have to go again?
You're wanting to meet with the note basically from the organizer that Grimwald's mentor gave to him. Basically said that you just need to meet Stinky at what's called the floodgates.
All right, I look at some of the signs to see if there are any signs for the floodgates.
Yeah, absolutely. So you'll notice that once you kind of progress down a little bit more, not only behind you does the portcullis kind of go closed. It's slow. It doesn't really slam down or anything of that nature. But
Last chance, Grimwald.
you could pull an Indiana Jones if you want.
No, let's go.
So it comes down, and you notice a little bit ways away. There's like a split, and one of the signs say like houses, or like a housing district. It looks like, or something. And then the other way, it looks like it says floodgates in a few other places. So you can continue on to that particular direction easily.
Well, it looks like we need to go right, I think, Eva.
And not soon enough. Let's go.
Yeah, as you continue down, you start to. It's an odd thing. As you start following to the signs that say floodgates, you notice more and more that it still smells. Like there's no getting away from it. It is still gonna smell. There's less of like this hot, musky smell, and you start to feel like there's more of a breeze or something that is pushing at least the hot air away. So even though it still smells and you never really want to be like, hey, let's have a picnic down here, at least it's not as bad as it was in like the outreached areas where it's just a little bit less wind coming down the tunnels, so to speak.
Regardless, Grimwald takes out a bandana and ties it over his mouth and nose, so to mitigate the smell a little bit.
You're probably accustomed to doing these things, especially like working with fish offal on boats and things of that nature.
Exactly. It's something he's practiced many times.
Yeah. Always never leave home without your bandana.
Scented with lavender. Yeah.
Ooh, fancy.
He's a talented person.
All right, real quick to Moonbrook. Right now you are outside of the main office in the floodgates, and you are essentially waiting. You know that you're going to be meeting with these two individuals, and you know their names. You know the description of them. You already are established with what they're coming here for, and that obviously you may want to, in order to earn a little bit of money, help Grimwald in whatever kind of research he needs to get done for his own personal reasons. You don't exactly know those reasons. You just know that there's likely to be research to be had, and somehow not only will your kind of happenstance probably play some kind of part in it, but also given the company that he has, it doesn't really look like if there was ever any kind of trouble, there was confidence from the city and from the organizations in the Undergutter that they would be able to protect themselves as adequately as maybe they hope. So you're kind of there to help provide that protection, and you're going to get paid for that, obviously. Stinky has obviously made sure that that's going to happen because you're kind of a representative of like his guild, so to speak. But
I get paid?
yeah, you'll get paid. Technically, they're getting paid for their research, so you'll get paid too. So you're working as an individual of independent, almost like an independent contractor, working with them in order to help facilitate whatever needs to be done. Mm-hmm. But you know their names, you know their description, and you basically are waiting in this like common area that's called the floodgates, for them to kind of stroll up, and eventually, obviously, they do. And you'll notice that one of them has definitely taken it upon themselves to mask the smell of the Undergutter if they can help it.
You know, it's not that bad once you get used to it.
Holy cow, is that person half human, half horse?
Why, yes. Now, obviously, this would be kind of shocking for you all because this isn't commonplace. Centaurs don't really exist on this world normally. So this is definitely an oddity, and you assume that it may have something to do with aether storms because you've seen some weird stuff happen before, and Ava has likely, from her mentor, been told things like this as well from the Rend of weird stuff that's happened. So there's these thoughts that go through your head, like, you know, is this from the Aether Storm? Like, what caused this to happen? You don't exactly know what exactly. So it's kind of intriguing. You know, it kind of brings up some ideas of like, wow, this is interesting.
So we're walking down and we see this person standing in this common area.
She's sitting, but she calls out when she like spots the mask, and that's how she's like, you know, it's not that bad.
And like Grimwald's eyes, he didn't say that earlier thing, but his eyes get like clearly like much bigger in kind of surprise, but also like awe of like what this is, as he, you know, takes a keen interest in these kind of things and says, no, I'm pretty sure it stays that bad after a while.
Takes it on, I suppose. Can't be much worse than bog gas, you know?
True, and the insides of some of those creatures in the sea can be quite putrid as well, but you usually get the sea breeze to help with that.
I wouldn't know. I've never been on a boat.
Grimwald asks, are you, by chance, stinky? And is this the floodgates?
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay. Well, we were sent here by my...
Do I look like a stinky? You know,
Everything looks like
actually, don't answer that. Don't.
Everything looks like a stinky down here.
Yeah, no, I try not to assume. I've heard some strange names.
You're fine. The name's Moonbrook.
Moonbrook, nice to meet you.
Pleasure. I take it you are Ava and Grimwald? Though, you know what? I'm just gonna say, maybe.
Did we know? Question for DM. That somebody else besides Stinky was going to be meeting us?
Yeah, you knew you had another contact. You weren't exactly sure who they were, and obviously you did not know that they were a centaur. You just heard that someone was going to meet you down there to meet Stinky as well.
Okay.
They've asked us to confirm. It's like, you are the other contact in this letter here, right?
I suppose. Stinky just asked me to give a hand, so I'm giving a hand.
Good.
Or
well,
hoof.
Are hoof jokes okay? I just want to make sure before.
Oh, I will be making them all the time.
Oh no, the puns, they're gonna come out!
$20 each time, right?
No,
Yeah, exactly.
we don't charge here.
Good.
But as obviously you all are catching up and making sure that, you know, you're contacting the correct parties, you'll the two of you that are not as familiar with down here notice that behind Moonbrook, or at least close to Moonbrook, there is a basically there's a desk. It's essentially it's a desk assembled out of what looks to be like worn water-soaked pallets with crooked nails hanging out of it, and there's this kobold that is standing on top of their chair behind it with a like a clipboard. It's like a makeshift clipboard. It looks just like a piece of wood with a nail on it, and it's got a paper attached to it. And they look at everybody that's assembled and just kind of glint and stare. Stares past Moonbrook and stares at the other two that have just kind of wandered by. And she looks back to Moonbrook, the kobold does, and is like, "He's too waiting to see boss."
I guess so. They asked for him by name, so.
And you see the kobold like scribble something on the paper, and it doesn't look like it's kind of legible in any kind of degree. You're not entirely sure what the script says in it. You just know that they're scribbling on something on that paper. Could be toilet paper for all you know. It just looks like they're scribbling on something. And
Kobold secretary.
what's that?
I said, yes, the kobold secretary.
Exactly, kobold secretary. And then she looks back up as if slightly perturbed, but as if she maybe wrote something down as of importance, and she just goes, "Boss, we'll see you now." And then she like hits a nearby lever after hopping down off of this makeshift chair and desk combo, and it's another one of those big levers, and you hear the gears grind. And out behind, I would say, like, you know, to the right of her desk, there's this another big portcullis. It looks like a big solid door, and it opens up, and you start to see it crank up, and the gears, you know, start clacking as this big metal office door essentially rises and reveals an office from the other side.
We best not keep him waiting.
I guess so. How big is this office? Is it another tunnel within the sewers, or is it like an actual room?
It looks like an actual room. As the door raises, it reveals what appears to be a grandiose office constructed of the finest trash, litter, and salvaged items south of the streets of Salus. Illuminated with intact street lamps, the rather sizable office has seating for 6, constructed unlike the chairs out in the lobby, as some form of effort looks like it went into the assembly. The chairs surrounding in a semicircle, surround in a semicircle a desk made of driftwood, perceived to resemble something executive and professional, while at the head of it rests a throne, back turned, overlooking the questionable waters being drained into the Undergutter from above. There's basically like waterfalls of poop water that you get a view of as you're looking past it. The overlook would be stunning to most if the subject matter were changed, but for an eclectic view, the cascading drainage from the city of Salus falls more gracefully than any waterfall found in the wild. Moonbrook would likely disagree. The throne swivels deliberately away from the view towards the front of the office. "Stinky been expecting you." The goblin places an overly round rat he was petting onto the desk as he comes to a standing position on his seat. The rat, slowly rotating due to its own gravity, eyes the visitors in an outreach of abject terror as it nears them, plummets off the edge of the desk. The faint squeak can be heard once the rat hits the floor, and Stinky is just watching you. "Do you have letter?"
I have a letter, yes. And I believe it's for you.
Stinky, like, holds out his hand as he's, like, leaning partially over his desk. Give to Stinky."
Grimwald approaches the desk, careful not to knock over, obviously, the things that are hastily assembled in fear of them just falling to pieces when he touches them. And he also picks up the rat and places it back on the desk as a sign of friendliness before handing him the letter. You
see the rat, like, you have to take a moment to kind of balance it. It is surprisingly round for a rat. Not entirely sure how it got that way, but I mean, it seems okay other than obviously the fall that it just had. And eventually you get to balance it on its like stomach, and it just, you know, with little arms and legs poking out, not able to kind of hit the ground well enough, it does stabilize itself.
Oh.
It moves like a turtle.
Yeah, almost.
That's always upside down, yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. Grimwald gives him a little pat, hands him the letter, and says, "What's your rat's name?"
Reggie.
Good Reggie.
You see Stinky basically, as he looks at the letter, he takes a seat, you know, kind of plops down in his chair. You hear the squeakiness of the executive throne essentially settle in, and he pops his legs on his desk as he reads the letter. He's like, "Mm-hmm, yes, has Salus seal, okay? Okay. So he's just kind of like analyzing the letter and looking over what it says and making sure, obviously, you are who you are. And then he looks to Moonbrook and he goes, "You gonna be able to protect them?"
I can try. There's no promises. I mean, we all know how the wilds are.
You get bonus if they live.
I will do my best.
He kind of clears his throat and he stands back up and puts the paper on the desk and he goes, "Stinky has big problem. Stinky been missing kobolds. Kobolds are workers for Stinky. They do things Stinky don't want to do. And, well, kobolds have been going missing. And it looks like it's very weird stuff that's happening. And we think that maybe it has to do with aether leak down in Undergutter." Go ahead and roll. Actually, both everybody. I don't think Moonbrook's gonna succeed on this, but if you want to roll like an arcane to, or even like I think of a knowledge, or just like an intelligence check or something of that nature, to kind of gather what he's referring to right now about the aether is leaking in the Undergutter. You can get a better idea as far as what he may be referring to. And you can always roll on your D&D Beyond sheet.
Oh god, I was muted. I rolled on D&D Beyond, but it didn't come over.
Oh, it didn't? Okay, hold on, let me see. I should be able to pull it up this way anyway.
You got a 16.
Yeah.
Said you have a 16?
Yeah, I got 16.
I'm new to all these systems, sorry.
That's okay.
If you're using D&D Beyond in the chat, if you type !C space INT, it'll pop up a little menu, and then you just hit 1, 2, 3 or whatever for or the matching number with whatever you're trying to actually check. So I think it's like 3 for intelligence or something.
Well, I think like even on the sheet, you should be able to, for arcane, where you have arcana, pardon me, if you click on the +4 under arcana, it should roll for you, I believe.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it just didn't pull it into the channel.
For some reason, yeah.
Oh, there we go. That's
We could always fix it later. I'm okay with you guys just telling me what it was.
There we go. Well, I got a 21 in the chat, so.
Holy poop, okay. That's kind of appropriate, I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
Moonbrook, do you want to roll an intelligence check?
I got a 5.
Oh my god. So while Moonbrook ponders...
She's not an idiot. She's just not very magically inclined.
Yeah, that's fair. That is fair. You're pondering better things. This doesn't really concern you because you really don't care at this point in time. You're like, whatever. Okay, there's aether leaks or whatever. Both Ava and Grimwald, you kind of recognize the fact that, I mean, there are naturally occurring aether pools that happen, but there's none really in the city. Like, it just doesn't really happen in more industrial or populated areas. It has to be generally places where there are there's like a lot of nature and stuff involved, or like out on the seas, especially out on the seas. Grimwald, you would know this. There's tons of aether storms and deposits that usually happen out in the middle of the ocean because there's nothing there to kind of interact with it and not
stabilize the area.
Yeah, a civilized area typically does not have any kind of natural springs or anything like that. Natural aether springs. It just really isn't heard of. So it's very doubtful that there's anything in the Undergutter, especially with how much just civilization refuse is down here. It just doesn't make sense. Both of you do know, though, more so Grim, that there's things that people have been doing as of recently, especially within the city, that could constitute there being aether somehow being stockpiled in the city. Grimwald, you know, especially, you've caught wind through whatever means, probably by rumor, that there is some alchemical concoctions that are happening within the city. that are being forged with aether, and that could, if people are dumping that for some reason, that could cause something that ends up in the gutter. Obviously, everything flows down into the undergutter. So if somebody is dumping some kind of waste or something of that nature, it's likely, it could be that. It could very well be that. So it kind of, that stuff comes to mind when Stinky talks about, you know, it looks like there's aether leaks. Not entirely sure from where, but it looks like there's aether leaks, and his kobolds are going missing for some reason, and he can't risk going out himself. So there's this investigation that needs to happen, essentially, to figure out what is causing these disturbances. And go ahead and everybody roll me an insight as well, as he's kind of describing this.
Oof. 4.
You just nod. You're like, uh-huh.
Okay, I rolled a 2.
You also just nod.
Sorry, an insight.
Yeah, insight.
10.
Okay, you're...
Level 3.
Oof.
You're catching, Grim, you're catching that for the most part. Stinky is seemingly telling you everything that he knows. There may be a little hinge of doubt that maybe there's something that's being obfuscated.
Okay. So, I guess DM question again. We got the funding, or getting the funding for the research. We got a letter from Harvey saying we should come down here to help out, or what was the reason to come down here again?
There is, Harvey knew that there was some kind of disturbance down here involving aether, and he wasn't entirely sure what.
Okay.
And essentially, it was going to be a good starting point and kind of like a, almost like, it's not really a favor, you're still going to get paid, but it's almost like a peace offering between you and the city, or at least him and the city, to be like, look, we're motivated to figure out what's going on because we want to pour more research into this aether problem or whatever is happening. So it's basically a city-funded first mission that you guys have, to be like, okay, can we help out in any way and show that obviously we're worth the funding that Salus is willing to support for us.
Got it. Yeah.
Basically, your foot in the door. Harvey was trying to get you your foot in the door for getting more funding.
And we got sent to the sewers. Awesome.
Yep, gotta start somewhere.
Yeah, let's start at the bottom. Make your way up.
A
Okay.
literal bottom.
Yeah.
Starting from the bottom, now we're here. We haven't gone
Exactly.
anywhere.
We're still at the bottom. We just got started. Okay, so yeah, I guess after Stinky describes the situation to us, Grimwald looks he like furrows his brow and looks like he's thinking heavily about it, and he does mention like, I have heard rumors that some experiments up top, and he points upwards, may be dumping their ether down into the wells here.
He kind of sighs, and he looks at Moonbrook, sighs again, like
Shrugs, and it's like, what do you expect? Humans.
he just goes, okay, nobody here human, that's fine. I know some things happen up top where drugs are made, but that's really not the concern that I'm worried about. You have to know that sometimes kobolds come back, but they're not actual kobolds. They don't behave like kobolds. You see Secretary out there, how she behave? He just points to the open. You can see that the kobold is just acting like they're doing their job. Like they're acting normal, you know, they're going about their business, acting annoyed at certain things, trying to catch a random rat that's running around. Whether or not they're trying to eat it is not really clear, but they're at least trying to catch it and clear it out of what would be the foyer of Stinky's office. And he just kind of reels it back in toward himself, and he goes, "They come back. They not normal. Haven't had many come this far, but on outskirts, they roam and they tend to terrorize other kobolds trying to live." And he kind of pulls out the center drawer of his desk. There's seemingly a bunch of paperwork. Whether or not it's legit paperwork, who knows? It's just a bunch of balled up paper, but he does pull out one and he unfurls it on the desktop, and it looks like it is a map of the Undergutter so far. And give me a second, I will actually link that. Let me see here.
At the initial reaction of hearing that these kobolds were returning different, Ava's looked a little worried.
I'll have to share it through Google Drive. Okay, so I linked in our chat basically this hand-drawn map that you would assume Stinky has made.
Super helpful.
In typical Stinky fashion.
Yeah, of course. And oddly enough, it looks very similar to some of the scrawling that you've probably seen coming in here. But anywhere where there's an arrow is where they've had reported problems of these not kobolds, whatever the problematic kobolds are, terrorizing some of the other individuals that are there. So it looks like on the outskirts. So right now, the symbol on the bottom is where you guys came in. The next step up is where the floodgates are. The next step up is basically like a commons residential area, and then from that point where they branch off into multiple different areas is just different places on the outskirts of the Undergutter.
I've asked Stinky if he can describe some of the activities of the kobolds that have returned weird.
They seem to glow, like they have aether in them. Some blue, some orange. They very sluggish, but they attack and try to eat people.
Oh my.
Ava seems extremely concerned at the at that.
At the eat people part.
yeah, that part.
Have they been successful in eating anybody yet?
Well, Stinky don't have good population control. Kobolds do what they want. It's very hard to tell, except for important ones. And he points again to the secretary. That's an important kobold. Stinky don't know if people go missing all the time. Salus don't give Stinky much money when it comes to taking care of kobolds and others down here.
Hey, Stinky. And like Moonbrook points to like the mushroom-looking things, and she just asks for clarification. She's like, "Are these mushrooms?"
Yeah, mushrooms. Stinky and kobolds go to these places to harvest the glowing ones you see.
And he'll point to like some of them on the wall, and you'll notice. Yeah, obviously you've noticed coming in, especially the main entry, that there are like multiple glowing mushrooms that they try to set up instead of torches for some reason. On the way in, also, you've seen signs that are like, no torches. because you can assume that down in the sewer there's probably some gases involved. So there's certain areas that they don't want torches to be in, which is why they use mushrooms instead.
Gotcha. At the mention of like Salus paying Stinky, Grimwald is kind of interested and says, so Stinky, what is your role down here in all of this?
Stinky deal with, how can we say this? Stinky deal with information. Some information Salus don't want to get out. So Stinky holds on to information till it suits him good.
I see. Sounds like Stinky's a very important person.
Well, I didn't say that, but you said it.
And definitely a powerful friend to have.
Maybe in future, after this job, if everyone lives, you can help with Stinky's pile of dirt.
Pile of dirt, you say? Tell us more.
Yeah, well, you had to live first. Solve
Okay.
Stinky problem, and then come friends. You know. Scratch
You're
back,
a master
scratch
of
back.
suspense.
Definitely master of suspense.
Ava tries to take a peek at the fingernails to see how dirty they are.
It's okay. I appreciate it.
Like his Stinky's fingernails?
Yeah.
They're surprisingly pretty clean. Like in general, Stinky seems like he's relatively clean, and while the smell in his office isn't spectacular, especially in front of the poo waterfalls, he still keeps it relatively clean. There's no rat poop. There's no like trash everywhere. It actually looks pretty well kept for what it is.
Sorry, I'm just doing my best not to kick over any chairs.
I know, like
Winnie.
No whinnying. Shut up.
I'm actually standing at my desk right now. As you said that, I literally look behind. It's like, yeah, my chair's still right in the same spot. I'm not gonna kick it.
But you're allowed to take the map with you, obviously, for navigation purposes, as rudimentary as it is. And Stinky just is getting at those are the problem locations that are probably worth inspecting in some way, shape, or form.
Okay. Seems straightforward enough, Stinky. Go to these places, see if we can figure out what's going on. Can you tell us a bit more about these, I don't want to assume it's feces, but these things with stink lines and flies on them?
Oh yeah, they're probably poo pits.
Poo pits, okay.
Yeah, poo pits. Some of the sewers down in those areas are not as pathed as we want them to be. So, as I said, Salus don't fund down here too well. Even though poo gotta go somewhere, but it clearly goes to the poo pits.
Oh man.
Not very many kobold go down there, but from time to time we have to clear out blockages, if you know what I'm saying.
Well, do we have to go down there?
It would be advisable if you know that something is down there, but if you find something else or maybe source of problem elsewhere, you don't have to.
Maybe we'll save those for last.
Yeah, best for last, yes.
Sure, best, right?
Sure.
Was that a nay, Moonbrook?
Shut up. That was a sure. Get out of here with your shit.
Well, seems straightforward enough. And one last question: what is the I think it's a boat on the right side of the map.
We have small ferry from place to place. So ferry to residential to poop it to floodgate, and he'll actually like motion you over to the side where, you know, I wouldn't go too far. It's kind of like, you know, Splash Mountain to a degree where this waterfalls are in, but he points over and you can see like some rafts, some like forgive the pun, shitty rafts on the waterfront in front of his office, and you know, they're kind of manned by, you know, a handful of kobolds apiece. They're transporting goods. I say goods loosely, stuff that's been salvaged. Some looks like, okay, you know, goods that have been transported down there legitimately. Others look like it's, you know, stuff that's been flushed, that they've been able to kind of like scavenge, and they're transporting it. Much like, honestly, up top, just as a little background, Salus itself is kind of like T separated, like it's a sideways T. It's separated via like a river, like a multi-section river. That like
it's like a Venice.
Yes, yeah. The city uses it for transportation of goods as well. So the market district is separated off from like the farming district, but they're able to transport goods back and forth via the river fairly easily and quickly. So they do it the same down in the Undergutter.
Besides,
Very impressive.
How do you think I got here? You think I walked?
I have a lot of questions about you, yeah.
The horse lady can't fit in some areas. So had to get her by boat.
Is she gonna be able to fit into the areas we need to go into?
Probably. He just kind of shrugs too.
Just shrug. Moonbrook does the same. She just like looks at him and shrugs.
Moonbrook, how long have you been down here?
Couple of days.
Okay, nice. Yeah, we could chat later about your previous experience with aether.
You mean my lack of?
Yes, or lack thereof. So Stinky, heading into these places, do you have any advice for people who are perhaps less familiar with the Undergutter?
Can give you a kobold guide. Maybe they can help point you in the right
that'd be
direction.
Lovely. How about your secretary? She seems very good.
You don't want to piss off secretary.
Well, why is that?
She worse than Stinky.
Oh, you don't seem too bad.
Stinky pretty good, at least right now, because, you know, in good mood. The winds of the Undergutter are very fragrant today.
I see.
We're calling it Stinky.
What did you say?
Oh, we're calling it Stinky.
But secretary never in good mood. Don't think she'll be helpful.
Okay. Well, we will take you up on that offer for a kobold guide then.
Yeah. So he motions, you know, like the two finger come here towards the secretary, but she actually looks around. Probably can't see it from the office right now, but she essentially just rings a bell. There's like this, almost like a school teacher bell on the desk that she has. She just like cranks it as hard as she can, and with as much vitriol and anger that she has in her person, she rings it as hard as she can, almost like a school teacher, an old school teacher would. And you see, or at least you hear, the pitter patter of like a set of feet kind of running up to her desk. As you do that, or as they do that, Stinky motions for Moonbrook to like come here real quick, like just like in close proximity.
She does her best while not ducking over the chairs because they're like the nicest furniture in here.
Yeah, probably. He actually. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
No, he actually leans over and not like terribly discreetly, but like slips you a piece of paper.
I will take it.
And you have that piece of paper in your whatchamacallit, your DMs now. Let me send you up a follow DM to clarify. There you go. That way it makes sense. As you are a part of his organization.
She'll just nod her head and look over the note real quick while she like steps away.
Okay. After that, he looks at everybody. Stinky just gives a pass over to everybody, and basically asks, "Any more questions?"
Would you happen to have a pack of kobold blood I could take?
What?
Grimwald kind of gives a side eye to Hazel.
A pack of blood.
What you need blood for?
Just a hunch.
Maybe you can convince volunteer. Don't know if that one out there will help, but maybe I don't have blood.
Stinky, how attached are you to this kobold?
Stinky attached to all kobolds, okay?
Okay, so you'd be a little sad at least.
Yeah, that would be bad for business. Stinky has a business to run down here.
Okay. Well, we'll take good care of your kobold.
Thank you. Please don't kill him.
We'll try our best.
Please try. But I mean, if he asking for a raise, then maybe if he go missing, then Stinky won't miss him so much. Okay.
Oh yeah, no, he looks like he has high aspirations. So.
Well,
see.
okay. Well.
What if they want to start a union?
Then, well, maybe Stinky have problem with that, and then maybe problem need to go away.
Yeah, on the way in here, I heard a bunch of kobolds talking about creating a union.
Stinky gonna have to quell that. No union on Stinky. What?
Gonna
Sure.
hold back from making topical jokes on that, but.
Yeah, let's.
Well, I'm good to go. So Stinky, we'll go take a look, see if we can find anything about this quote-unquote aether leak, and return with what we find.
Okay.
Can we take one of your ferries, if possible? Well, actually, I don't know. From my experience on boats, I'm not sure if that would hold us all through the tides here on the Undergutter.
You could try one or two. They just tell them Stinky said let them take. And he just motions to the what looks to be a shy little kobold standing in the doorway. He goes, "You make sure ferry can be taken by everyone, okay?" And you see this. Basically, it's a small kobold with what looks like a broken miner's hat. He like shyly peeks into Stinky's office at the edge of the door, and he's got like really, really nervous eyes because, well, he's talking to the boss right now, essentially. And he just kind of like nods in quick, rapid succession and nervously, like he understands.
Okay. Well, personally, the risk of sinking in the Underdark is not a risk I'm willing to take. So Maybe we'll stick to dry land for now.
That'd be a shitty way to go.
Hey.
Hey.
All right, that's fair.
Um,
Yeah, go ahead.
oh no, I was just gonna say to the rest of the party, well, I have no more questions. Do you guys have questions?
So just give a thumbs up to Stinky and like turn to leave.
As
Okay.
as as both of them respond, Ava just starts to leave. Excuses herself from Stinky and just starts to leave.
Well, Stinky, I guess that means we're leaving, so we'll report back with what we find.
Yeah, just talk to secretary when you're back.
Okay, will do, Stinky. Appreciate all of your kind and intelligent advice.
Yeah, don't die, please. It's a big problem.
And you hear him just
You know.
like sink back into his seat and the swirl back around to looking at the poo waterfalls.
And is the small kobold like joining us as well?
Yeah. As you approach the door, he like kind of peeks out more, and he's like, "You follow me now." And it like retracts its head past the edge, accidentally clunking it against the doorway, and causes the hat to like fumble close enough to the doorway to like almost down a drain. And he kind of slowly creeps his hand across and grabs the helmet, the miner's hat, basically back on, and like pops it back on securely, adjusts it so it's very, very sturdily positioned on his head.
Oh
And
gosh.
you can tell by his stature, he does have basically like a small little leather vest, and on his collar, if you observe close enough, it says, "Hi, my name is Plunk," as if it were sewn into the collar, almost like from his mother. You know how there are mothers out there that label their kids' collars,
Yeah.
or the tags. He's basically has a name. Whether or not it was his name, who knows? But people have started to call him Plunk because he's been labeled as Plunk.
He's not wearing a red shirt, is he?
No, it's a leather vest. It's a leather vest with a collar. He doesn't look like he's a red shirt. I hope.
Okay, good.
It's
Time will tell.
apparently he's gonna be drained of blood.
Yep.
But you have Plunk as your guide now. And of course he seems relatively nervous. A little bit less so now that you all have exited the boss's office, but as you all go into the floodgates kind of like foyer area, he's finding himself a little bit better. You know, not as nervous, but still, you know, he's trying to escort 3 individuals he doesn't really know. He maybe knows of Moonbrook, but he was too scared because she's a walking horse lady, and that is weird, even to someone that lives in the Undergutter.
So, Plunk, where should we head to first?
Plunk need to go do resident areas.
And he like points in the direction.
Lead the way.
Without any kind of delay, you hear him kind of like pitter-pattering on his little 2 kobold feet and his nice little his miner's hat, which has like, you noticed it before, you know, it's basically like a miner's helmet, but instead of a candle on the front of it or anything like that, it's just got one of those bioluminescent mushrooms on it, reflected via like a little piece of shined mirror that he somehow got. The mirror isn't perfect, it's just basically like a sharp edge, but it does reflect, and it helps kind of direct this like bluish bioluminescent light in the direction that he's looking. And you can notice as he's walking away, even though it's relatively lit fairly well, along the signs and whatnot, showing you the direction of the resident area of the Undergutter.
Nice hat, Plunk. Did you make it yourself?
Yeah, made self.
Oh man, think you could make me one?
Maybe find more mirror down here. Plunk cut self last time.
Oh no. Well, we'll be careful if we find any mirror then.
It keeps going further and further down, and eventually you get to the residential area where it just opens up. And although it's still enclosed in like the concrete and brick of the sewer, it does open up into this main area, even wider than the floodgates, because it's pretty much where the housing area is for anybody that lives down there. And as a side note, if you remember, like you know where the mutants used to live in Futurama, if you're familiar with that.
Yeah,
they lived in that. Yeah,
That's kind of what I'm thinking as I'm going in this area.
This entire
like,
time, yeah.
yeah.
we finally reached like the big toilet thing area.
yeah, more or less.
Old New York.
Yes, exactly. So if you envision something like that, but it's just filled with a lot of kobolds and a lot of other like just outcast, downtrodden individuals that you weren't necessarily expecting. There's probably a few humans, probably a few normal cultures that you're used to seeing above ground, just not able to make it. But they, for some reason, are down here, and they seem to find some kind of safety amongst the kobolds and other cultures that have just brought themselves down here willingly. You could easily pick out where the kobolds live for the most part, because they have these little burrows, almost like little mud hives that they kind of permeate into the side of the sewers. And it's all, well, you hope it's mud anyway, but it seems to be mud, or you would assume it's mud. And you can see as some of the kobolds kind of go in and out of these little burrows and come out these other locations. And they seem to have it pretty well, fairly well constructed for everything that they're kind of bringing in and out of their homes. Of course, you have normal looking housing areas as well. I say normal for what would be the working district, which is like ramshackle lean-tos and things of that nature, made out of wood or whatever else that can be found. So more sadly recognizable, destitute locations. But yes, there are a few channels of what we would loosely call water through these residential areas, so that way the channels are free for some of the quote unquote ships. You wouldn't necessarily call them a ship, Grim, but they are ships to a degree that kind of go down these individual channels within the Undergutter. Plunk's just kind of hurrying along. There are different areas that you can go to in here. You don't necessarily have to bother yourself with it if you don't want to, but if you're wanting to look around, you know, Plunk is just taking you down Main Street, as it were.
Gotcha. So Plunk, what does one do for fun in the Undergutter? Wait, sorry, what is the name of it?
Yeah, Undergutter.
Undergutter, okay. Yeah.
Plunk sometimes go topside for fun.
Topside.
Yeah, where air smells weird.
Oh yeah, we call that fresh up there. I'm not sure if you have that down here.
Don't know what fresh is. Fresh seem weird.
You get used to it.
It don't burn nostrils.
Oh yeah. Good point.
Most would call that a good thing.
Sometimes Plunk find good stuff up top upstairs.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
What
yeah.
have you found?
More shiny things.
Oh yeah. Like your mirror?
Yeah, like mirror. See people wearing shiny things around neck.
Oh yeah. I know. It's a strange concept, isn't it?
Don't know what shiny stuff they would use for.
Usually they consider it for status.
What's
Those who
status?
have and those who have not. They think they're better than others.
Oh. We all have not down here.
No, you have quite a decent life down here. You've got housing, you've got community, you've got she thinks for a moment, trying to think of a third thing.
Shitty glues, as you said.
Thick glues, yeah. Beautiful waterway.
Very, very beautiful water. Looks just
You
like
can almost see the brown in it.
brown, very pretty.
What's that human phrase? Beauty is in the eye of the beholder?
Beholders.
No, I said beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Tell me about where we are, Plunk. Is this your main city in the Undergutter?
Yeah, Plunk. This is home for Plunk and others. We all work out of here to try to gather materials and make things comfy.
I see.
This where all stuff from up top comes. Flows down here,
And then he points to what would be like the main avenue of water. And you can notice that they have like nets and stuff set up to like almost like garbage collectors.
Nice, kind of like a raft with the nets there.
Yeah, exactly. Like certain areas are designed off, and you could tell like this is a collection area for larger material, this is a collection for minor material, and as the water flows, you know, the bigger material sorted at the top and so on and so forth as it filters down, almost like they're panning for gold when it's just, you know, trash and materials
for
that they can
different
use.
kinds of shit.
Yeah. The poo sifter.
Yeah. So it seems like they're just trying to more get by down here than create an economy and become wealthy and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you kind of gather that there is some kind of economy that Stinky's trying to generate, but it's not exactly legit, because the city doesn't want to deal with it. The city doesn't want to directly deal with it, I should say.
Okay, so the city kind of just tolerates whatever is going on down here.
Yeah.
As long as it doesn't back up and cause them a problem.
As long as the sewage flows, yeah.
Well, I mean, as it was said before, they tend to unblock some things from time to time, so clearly they're doing something for the city. Whether or not it is palatable is a different
That's
situation.
probably the kobolds getting more bricks to make their igloos.
This is the shit brick drying area. It's just like a, I don't know, like a sewer grate that opens up to the sunlight occasionally.
Okay.
Thanks for that terrible mental image.
Yeah, no problem.
Appreciate it.
No problem.
Appreciate it.
You're
At
in
least
the
they're not using a
Undergutter.
furnace to dry bricks. That would be.
Oof.
Ugh,
The waft of hot air.
ugh.
You see like these kobolds on like mini bellows, just poo wafting everywhere.
And just big grins on their faces.
Stinky wants you to investigate why everyone has pink eye now.
What?
I'm pretty sure it's just like the standard down here.
Yeah, it's probably
It's weird if you don't have pink eyes.
Yeah, you're gonna be itching your
We
eye.
probably stink out. We probably stick out.
Yeah.
Why your
And
eyes
then
so
later
clear?
we'll stink out.
But yeah, he'll navigate you to the edges, and Plunk will show you on the map like where you're at and the entries to those locations via the residential area, so you're not necessarily lost. Let me see if I have it labeled. I'm gonna pull it up again. So in the poo pits, those two areas he recommends not carrying any torches for obvious reasons. So you can grab a sconce off the wall, especially now that you're in the residential area. But if you go to those two poo pits, he definitely recommends having some mushrooms, possibly. You can get bigger mushrooms from the harvesting areas that are already marked, which you probably have to patrol anyway, he assumes. but you can get smaller ones off the wall. They're just not going to provide you with as much light as you're probably hoping for.
Gotcha. Plunk, is there any materials or supplies you would recommend for exploring the Underdark like we're going to be?
Maybe rope? In case friend fall in water?
God. But probably rather just die, I think, at that point, but...
Oh, okay. Can Plunk have stuff if die?
Oh, absolutely.
It sounds good.
Does anyone have rope?
I've been running pretty lean. I need to go shopping then.
If you have like I'm not gonna assume you didn't bring everything. You all knew that you were going on some kind of mission or whatever it may have been down here, so I'm not gonna be like, what did you carry? You know, I'm very strict with it. If you have an adventurer's pack, I'm pretty sure adventurer's pack has something on there. You likely, if you have your adventurer's pack with you, if you think your character does, then you likely have some rope. If not, you could probably find some in the residential area. It's probably gonna be, you know, not necessarily the prettiest of rope, but it's just rope.
I have 50 feet.
Yeah, well, there you go. Plunk also recommends, obviously, light, something to see by. If you have anything to help secure yourself into certain things, like if you have like not necessarily like crampons, but like hooks or something to help kind of go across maybe slick material. If you have problems with that, it might be helpful. He looks at Moonbrook's hooves.
As long as I don't have to climb, I'll be okay.
You ever see a dog climb a ladder? This is gonna be friggin' awkward.
That's gonna be a high skill check.
That's okay. I have disadvantage on this.
What happens if you break a leg? Do we have to shoot you?
You're not old othering me. Shut up.
Oh shit.
Do I see glue in your future?
I glue you to a wall in a minute.
So yeah, I mean, those are the things he recommends. If you'd like to get other things, being that you're in the sewer and, you know, there could be other things that you come up, but those are the things that he would recommend outright.
Well, I think this seems straightforward enough that we should be able to go on with what we have at the moment and head maybe towards the mushroom fields, or whatever you call them here.
I mean, if we do, might find something to light up the dark.
Exactly. We have to go there anyways.
Yeah, just don't fall in water.
Yeah.
Or poo.
Simple, guys.
Or poo water.
Yeah, what do you guys drink down here?
We collect normal water from gutters.
Okay, good.
We hope.
They hope for the best, apparently.
Yeah, they're very positive down here. Surprising.
Well, you gotta be when you're given, pardon the pun, the shit end of the stick.
So true.
Gotta make your own happiness.
All right, so what we'll do is we'll take just like a brief break. We can use the potty, whatever we need to do, and then when we come back, you guys can start choosing where you want to go. That sound good?
Good. Yeah.
All right, we'll be back in like, I don't know, 5-10 minutes.
Perfect. Yep.
All right, cool.
Bye.
Oh my goodness. Okay. This is funny. We're getting to fully explore the Undergutter here. Well, maybe not fully, but explore it a little bit better. And it's I want to fully flesh it out. So we're gonna take a few minutes, and I'm gonna use the potty myself, and then I'll be back, and then we'll kind of explore more I'll pop this on the intro screen so we have a little bit of an AFK, and then we'll be back as in a few minutes. I hope everybody's doing good. Thank you all for stopping by. Omitted and Jerp and Copter and everybody else that's lurking. Thank you all for stopping by. I appreciate it. I will be back in just a few minutes. All right, I'm back. Pups are walked and everything. Record time. Oh, excuse me. All right. All right, I am back.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Hi. We're all back.
Cool. All right, so Plunk has pretty much showed you all the directions you would need to go. Unless he seems very nervous to go any farther than directing you where, you know, these entrances to all these other places are. Seems to be pretty scared of the fact that most kobolds who have gone out in that particular area have probably died or are too scared to talk about what's happened. So he is very much so preferring to stay in the residential area unless otherwise goaded.
Oh, Plunk looking forward to seeing the mushrooms?
Plunk have mushrooms here.
Oh, well, we need expert guidance. We've never been there before.
He's like just really nervous about going out of these areas.
Is it a straight path, Plunk?
Yeah, follow signs.
Are they written like everything else here?
Yeah, written on boards.
Okay, that's easy.
With the same handwriting, I guess you could say.
Yeah, expertly written by boss.
It's okay. I can read it. You're fine. If
Okay. Well, you sure? You seem like a nice, big, strong, adventuring kobold. Think of all the stories you could tell your friends.
Can Plunk ride?
And he just points at Moonbrook.
you know what, if you were any bigger, I'd say no.
Yeah. He'll either probably need some help getting up or
She just grabs him by like the scruff of his like shirt or whatever, like the leather jacket that he's wearing, and just
Yeah.
like throws him over her shoulder.
Now, is he riding on your shoulder or like your horseback?
Yeah, no, he's riding on her shoulder. She's just like picked him up and put it on her shoulder.
Oh my god, this is a weird abomination.
Sitting on her shoulder, and she has like an antler for him to grab onto, so it's not like it's like he's just like floating there or whatever.
Yeah, he's balancing.
If smartphones existed, Grimwald would be taking pictures right now. This is the
And
most
he would
adorable
be having
thing
an
I've
axe thrown at him.
ever-
Do not.
No pictures.
No social media down here.
Dang.
We're both then.
But yeah, he
was-
Go ahead, Grim, sorry.
No. Nothing. Go ahead.
I was gonna say he tries his best to like balance on your antler. And he's not like huge. He's not like a big thing at all. You know, at most. And you're really strong, but he's like maybe 20 pounds or so. Like he's not heavy at all. It may be a little bit wonky for you at first, but you can balance him as he stays relatively still. But you've got basically like a lookout in a crow's nest with his miner's hat on, kind of shining the way still.
Grimwald leans over to Ava and says, I never thought I'd see a kobold riding a human that's also part horse.
Yeah, I think this has to be a first for me too.
She says nothing, but there's an annoyed flick of her tail. And that's it.
And I've seen some stuff.
So you
Well-
have... Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say you have the southernmost path or the, I guess, north western path towards the mushrooms, and you can go to either or.
Plunk, what's this triangle thing before those mushrooms on the left?
Oh, that house of goblin that live nearby.
Friendly?
Friendly.
Hmm.
Just
Let's maybe
point of reference.
go that way and see if this person's heard anything about these kobolds in the outskirts.
Stinky called that goblin weird. I know that sound weird, but that goblin is weird too.
Weird how?
Sometimes house move.
Moves? Like, is it on wheels?
Not that Plunk know of.
Well, and like, Grimwald like kind of strokes his beard, like, obviously even more curious than before.
And it doesn't look, at least by the map, that it would be like on water or anything either.
Yeah. Well, even more so, reason to go this way.
So he like Plunk turns his head to the direction of that particular area, so that way you can see the signs and whatnot.
Grabs the antlers and turns the head.
Yeah, mule, yeah.
Cool. So yeah, Grimwald will just kind of wave his hand to get the people to follow and lead the way, following the signs.
So you start making your way down basically a, like a sewer shaft, and it gets a little bit more cramped than in this particular residential area, because the residential area just opens up to be, a really huge area, but you have these very large, I would say like 10 to 12 foot pipes that still lead down these little annex locations. So that way you can still easily get to them. It just feels a little bit more cramped because it's not as largely opened up as like this central area was. So you're still able to easily get through it, especially, a very large centaur woman with a kobold now riding on her head. You can navigate down the path relatively easily. And as you go down to where assumingly this location of this particular house is, you notice that there's basically just a clearing. You're not entirely sure that the scale is correct, but Plunk does mention that, he kind of like shrugs as he's on Moonbrook's shoulders, and he's like, house gone. It looks like there was like a clearing, so like some of the mud and refuse looks very settled in one particular area, but it's no longer there. But they always keep it kind of labeled just because occasionally that house comes back somehow, or at least that well, he calls it a house. You're not entirely sure what it looks like, but that particular house comes back occasionally.
It's not here now, though, is it?
And Plunk just kind of shakes his head, even though you can't really see. But you see by the light that he's shaking his head no.
Grimwald, very curious, kind of steps to the area where the house should be, and well, first he asks Plunk, has anyone ever gotten hurt approaching the house?
No.
So yeah, then Grimwald approaches where the house should be and tries to see if he can see anything out of the ordinary that isn't behaving the way it should be, I guess.
You can roll like investigation, just see if you can make something of it, I guess.
Yeah.
Anybody else that wants to as well, you're more than welcome to, if you're actively doing it.
13.
You don't notice that there's anything necessarily odd. You can probably tell that there were some, some support structures, like heavy indentations in certain locations, but it doesn't look like it would match any kind of like standard housing that you would see up top. So it just looks kind of odd. There doesn't seem to be any kind of drag marks from those supports. There seems to be like divots here and there, like as if something punched into the refuse. Like if somebody slammed down a piece of 2x4 or something like into some mud. Occasionally you'll see that, but it doesn't look like that anything was like dragged anywhere. So it just looks kind of odd. There doesn't seem like to be anything overly threatening, or noticeable.
Well, it looked like there was something here, but clearly it's just up and left.
Yeah, there was obviously some kind of structure. You can't really tell exactly what it may have looked like. It wasn't anything standard that you would recognize from topside. But Plunk just kind of motions to the like a small offshoot of the tunnel, and basically it's like almost a direct continuation. He looks in front and shows that basically if you continue that way, it's going to be like a dead end. But if you make like a left, almost like a fork, or it's like a Y, that continues down to where the mushrooms are.
Well, I guess onward and upward, or downward in this case.
Yeah, if you want to go up, we gotta go back.
Yeah, you gotta go way back.
And so, yeah, Grimwald, by the light of mushrooms and torches, continues onward.
Okay. And as you progress down, even though there are, in this particular area, there are torches and sconces still on the walls, it does quickly take you down to basically a relatively quiet area. It almost seems peaceful because of this blue light that just kind of emanates, and you start to see from a very far distance in the actual like tubes of the sewer, and it's just very quiet. It's an area that seems to be fairly secluded from everything else. It doesn't smell nearly as bad, surprisingly enough. It actually smells quite filtered to a degree, or at least much cleaner than what you're used to breathing at this point in time. And the you're just revealed a forest, a small forest of bioluminescent mushrooms in all different types of sizes.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, is Plunk getting progressively more nervous the deeper we go?
He seems a little bit better on your shoulders, because he's a little bit taller, so he can see. Well, he's much taller than what he was. He's basically grown about like 7 or 8 times his normal size. So he is a little bit more confident because he is way higher and can see more stuff than he normally can at a distance.
He's like what, like 2.5 feet tall, 3 feet tall? I don't know how big kobolds are.
Yeah, I think like 2.5.
Yeah, so he gained like 7 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's riding pretty tall.
Yeah. You know that he wasn't shaking as much on your back as much as he initially was when he first got up there. He looks a little bit more secure.
She's gonna like look up at him and be like, if we fight, I have to put you down, right? Like,
if you fight?
Well, you're afraid of whatever's down here, right?
Yeah.
Well, if whatever you're afraid of attacks us, I need to put you down. I won't put you in front of me. I will put you behind me.
I will throw you at whatever we're fighting. It's
How long do kobolds live? 7 days.
Kobold tossing. No longer dwarf tossing. We're tossing kobolds now.
Don't toss me.
Kobold tossing tournament.
He looks around a little bit, and he basically looks to the walls of the nearby area, and he points to the exposed piping in the walls, and he basically says, put there, a fight, okay?
I will do my best.
And it looks like about the size of the pipe that like Ava and Grim saw when they were entering in, where you heard the voice for a password kind of emanate from. So it seems as though the kobolds can use those little pipes in the walls that are exposed from different areas, sometimes as like a transportation or a traversal path.
Mm-hmm.
Kobold highways.
Yeah, more or less.
What are we? Bioshock now? Little sisters in the walls?
Yeah, little kobolds.
Little kobolds in the walls?
Graham, you think you can fit in that thing?
Very doubtful that Grim would be able to fit, and at least the one that Plunk was pointing at.
Grim's like, not funny.
You may be short, but you a thick boy.
Yeah. So Plunk, I take it you are not experienced in fighting, are you?
No. Plunk scout.
Oh, you're a scout. So do you want to maybe scout ahead in the mushrooms and tell us what's out there?
No.
he just says no. He's still scared. He may be a scout, but he's not a brave scout.
Stop trying to get the little one killed.
Sorry, what was that?
Stop trying to get the little one killed.
I'm not trying to get him killed. He's a scout.
We're just trying to harvest his blood. Duh.
Which I'm still.
But the field is open. It seems relatively peaceful. If you're intent on combing over the area, you're more than welcome to make like a perception check, if that suits your fancy, or you could just go ahead and grab whatever you want to grab.
14 perception.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I'll roll 2. 13.
You both catch the almost kind of like a chattering of some kind of bug. It very likely could be like a cockroach or something to that degree within the area of the mushrooms, but nothing else really catches your eye. It doesn't look like it's fairly dangerous. You didn't hear anything coming in aside the echoing of maybe some droplets of moisture and your footsteps. But it seems relatively quiet here. It doesn't seem like there's anything of threat, at least an immediate threat that you can see in this particular mushroom field.
So, would it make a difference if we walked further into the field to possibly see further out towards possible entrances or exits to the field?
The one main entrance that you can see is the one that you're coming in through. It doesn't seem like it is it is like super vast. I would say it's just like one large area where somehow these mushrooms have been cultivated, and the other entrances wouldn't really be accessible by you all. Most of the entrances look like they are like kobold entrances.
So if any of the bizarre kobolds were here, they came in through those ways.
Yeah, it's very possible.
Oh, we're supposed to stop what's up in here, right?
What's that?
We're supposed to stop what's in here, right?
If you see any kind of, I guess, not kobolds that Stinky was referring to, or anything related to like some kind of aether leak. If you find it, especially if it is in this particular area, it'd be good if you can stop it, or at least, if there's some kind of threat revolving around it, yeah, stop it.
And I'm gonna set Plunk down.
Okay.
And I guess like kind of like look around and like I guess like walk around and look around the area like with axe in hand and all that fun stuff just in case.
Okay. Yeah, you patrol the area, but I would say after some time, it doesn't look like anything kind of emerges as a threat necessarily.
And Grimwald goes with to see if he recognizes any signs of aether or other magical behavior.
No outright magical behavior in this particular section. You are kind of interested, obviously, in the bioluminescence of the mushrooms, but you've seen it in wildlife, especially on the sea, before. It's not something that's unheard of to see in the wildlife elsewhere. But honestly, it looks kind of quiet. It's not like it's too quiet. It seems like it's actually a relatively peaceful area, and there doesn't seem to be anything that is overtly threatening here.
Okay, that's all I wanted.
Hey, Plunk, can we just pick these mushrooms for later if we want to?
You see,
or are they dangerous?
No, you see Plunk just nodding. He's like, it like this one, and he points to his miner's hat. It's just the one he has is like really really small, and you can see the resemblance. Just like it's got the rounded top, your standard rounded top mushroom with a stem, and some of them are bigger sizes. There's some that are literally the size of trees that are just huge because this area is relatively tall for the forest, but it's not like, I would say it's maybe 20 to 30 feet at most or something. So it's pretty tall area, honestly. But there are smaller, like more manageable handheld mushrooms that you can kind of gather.
Okay. Yeah, Grimwald will then just lean down and pluck a few, like 3 or so to keep in his pack, and then another one just to kind of put in his shirt pocket to have as a kind of torch.
Okay.
Cool.
Plunk just starts to look at the way that you came, and he's like, looks pretty peaceful here.
Yeah, I agree, Plunk.
Maybe,
What do you say, folks?
maybe we should stay.
Oh, Plunk. You'll never have any adventures unless you go out of the safe areas.
Don't know if this is safe, but it's peaceful.
Adventuring isn't for everyone.
That's clearly obvious.
And he just like
They'll pick him back up. Yeah, I should just pick him back up and
Alright.
I guess walk back the way they came since it seems like there's nothing here. Before we leave though, I'm gonna like. Can I investigate? Can I like look over the pipes really quick to make sure like I mean maybe that's not the word I want. Never mind, it's fine. We can leave.
You want to just look over the access pipes?
Yeah, just like, because I mean, this is one of the spots where people were disappearing or kobolds are disappearing. So
Sure. Yeah, if you want to give a quick look.
Grimwald joins too because he had the same idea.
Okay.
Ah!
Oh my god.
Man, no, it's okay. It's okay. So here's the one thing you're gonna have to understand. I will always roll low. Any game involving dice, I have terrible
You rolled
rolls.
a
It
two.
doesn't matter how many bonuses you give me. I will always roll low.
Grimwald's got an 8, so yeah,
We're
he's not doing popular.
Sorry, did we reach the investigation zone, or are we still at the camp before?
No, we're in the
You're in the little mushroom forest.
little mushroom forest. We're just looking over, like, Moonbrook's just looking over things.
Ava, if you want to help look at into the kobold highways, you're more than welcome to. Basically, the access pipes that the kobolds normally go through. They're both looking into them, seeing if they can see anything interesting.
Investigation 11.
Okay. So it was what was yours, Grim? I'm sorry.
8.
8 and 11. Okay. You all kind of notice, for the most part, there is some what looks like bioluminescence. Ava, you kind of notice that this bioluminescence is mixed with something else that seems to be glowing a little bit differently. Like, as you pay attention, there is this like speckled part of the bioluminescence when it's mixed with water that tends to like almost like glowing plankton in water. But there's like this center stream somehow within that bioluminescence that is glowing. It is blue, but it's glowing differently. Like, it's a bit more cohesive, and it reminds you of aether to a degree, and it is streaked as if it were probably seen this before, if something was like bleeding, and it's actually going a little bit deeper into the kobold access ways.
I, of course, point this out to the rest of my group, and I ask Plunk if he has seen that anywhere else.
Plunk has not. He hasn't. He hasn't really gone through these access tunnels since problems have been popping up, especially in these outer areas. And he doesn't recognize, like, he might not understand entirely that there's a difference, but when you point it out to him, he doesn't think he's seen it before elsewhere.
You want to see where that pipe goes, Plunk?
He just like shakes his head no.
Worth a shot.
Well, I mean, we got plenty of other places to investigate.
Let's move on, I say. So,
Yeah, I'd say Moonbrook's just gonna walk back the way we came.
yeah, and Grimwald joins.
And you know the general area where you have to go. You've got the map still. You've seen the location. Plunk is just going along for the ride, so you all kind of navigate to, I'm assuming, the next like mushroom forest area.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, no sign of the house on the way back.
No, it's still not there. It
Okay.
hasn't been maybe about, I don't know, 20 minutes or so, and it doesn't look like it's there at this point in time.
Gotcha.
But you start to make your way to the other mushroom forest, and there's a similar feel to it, but it looks like the mushrooms have been some of the mushrooms have been almost like demolished to a degree. They've been knocked over, and Plunk seems kind of surprised, mainly because he hasn't been there, or at least he tells you he hasn't been there in a while, but this isn't commonplace to see something just kind of like pushed over. It looks like something like a lot of these mushrooms were knocked over or pushed over, or not harvested in how they normally harvest them. But the forest looks relatively the same, aside from those that have been kind of those trees, those mushroom trees that have been just kind of like knocked over and almost like disrespected.
Does it look like a kobold-sized creature caused this?
No, it looks much bigger.
Hey, Plunk,
okay.
what do you make of this pattern here?
He kind of hops down a little bit off of Moonbrook and looks over like one of the larger stalks that has been pushed over, and it looks like it's been snapped. Like, it doesn't look like it's been sawed or cut by any means with any kind of tools. It just looks like there was something that applied enough pressure that it just kind of snapped off of the stem and fell over. And there's like bioluminescence leaking out of the actual mushroom into the waters and whatnot. And he just, he kind of approaches it, sniffs it, and he just kind of turns around and shrugs. He's really unsure as far as what happened to this. But he just says, didn't cut with knife or tool. Kobolds typically cut with knife and tool.
Like, do you have any wildlife down here?
Maybe gators?
Gators? Like alligators?
Yes, some water life, but nothing big.
God.
The poo gator attacks.
I know, yeah. Yeah, I guess Grimwald looks for like any kind of footprints or kind of any signs of what kind of creature created this.
As I was saying, does this look recent? Like, as in, like, obviously, Plunk is like not seeing it like this, but like as in like recent, like within like the last couple of days, kind of thing.
Go ahead and just do another set of investigation rolls for me as you guys are looking at this. Oh my god.
Yo, it's just straight threes for me tonight.
There you go, 18.
Spectacular.
And 9.
Okay, so with an 18. Oh, there we go.
Whoops.
That's an insight check, say.
I know. I was like, where is investigation? But yeah, that one doesn't count.
With an 18, Ava, you're able to notice that there is those same marks that you saw in the access tunnels. They are there are some coming from an access tunnel that looks like it is Plunk's size to a degree. But the liquid that is going to it, almost like the blood trail-ish thing that is basically aether colored, is leading to it. It just looks like it's an inordinate amount of whatever that fluid is going to that particular access tunnel.
Alright, Plunk. I know you said no last time, but we need you to go into this tunnel and tell us what you see.
He just kind of starts to shudder and get really nervous.
Well, let's maybe look around a little bit first before we result to that.
I mean, we can, but all signs point to... And she points to the tunnel.
You all start to pick up some slow, it's almost like scraping, but it's almost of like it's not metal, it's not nail, it's almost like a dull thud, like those corrugated pipes that have the ridges on them. If you like run your fingers across them really quick, they'd likely make a noise. You hear the like a washboard. It's a very slow, like thump, like as if something is being drug in between not only like one of the pipes, but also like another pipe that's nearby. And it seems to be not necessarily in unison. It is definitely like off any kind of beat or anything of that nature, but it seems like it's coming from multiple locations. It's not like just one thing is dragging across the inside of a pipe that you can't see.
I'm going to set the kobold down and put my axe in both hands this time.
And so we hear these sounds coming from these little cobalt-sized pipes around us.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, it seems to be at least several, 2 to 3 of them, at first, that you can hear this kind of noise. And it doesn't seem like it's as rapid as it was that you heard when you initially came into the Undergutter. It just seems like a thump, 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 thump. And there's something that's like dragging within the pipes, and several of these pipes now, that is coming, going, not entirely sure.
Grimwald kind of like gestures at the party to maybe, slowly back up to the entrance of the room and try to observe what's going on and continue to listen.
What does everybody else do? Do we comply?
I mean,
Ava definitely falls back.
Okay.
yeah, I was gonna say, I'll do the same, but I'll put myself between them and whatever's coming.
And Plunk will 100% fall back. Yeah, he's not gonna delay. As soon as you're like, hey, we should move back, he's already there.
Yeah.
You can start to tell by at least some of the pipes above, like there's a eerie, like yellow glow starts to emanate from them. And after, I would say, about a solid minute of movement, of just this like tense feeling that something is coming, some of the dragging stops, and then you kind of hear it start up again, and then that eerie yellow glow within those certain pipes that you can see just kind of fades off until you can no longer hear the dragging sound.
Well, I don't like that at all.
I mean, neither do I, but the question is that our problem?
Grimwald tries to recollect if this is like sounds like any aether experience he might have had before. If like, in his experiences sailing the seas, he's seen glowing creatures or things like that. If there's anything beneficial from that.
Well, I mean, I'll say this from your from your experience as not only a sailor but also your curiosity because of reasons into the aether. Like you've seen certain things that were probably oversized or mutated in some way because of aether. You recall hearing stories of like an anglerfish that was just a bit bigger than it expected. That has that kind of bioluminescent lamp that lures in prey. That's something that comes to mind. But you've noticed that there are things, especially in the water, because there's just so much space there for something to grow, that the aether can do weird things like that. Because there's just storms aplenty on the ocean front, and then there's so much space and no civilization that's underneath the waters that things can just happen.
Okay.
So it's not unheard of to see things mutated. You're maybe half convinced that that's maybe what Moonbrook is all about, because you know what a horse is, you know what a person is. She's kind of both, so you're like,
Okay.
I still think, I mean, if it's the bigger kobolds, we should get rid of them.
So, is that what Stinky asked us to do? Or just figure out what the source of the problem is?
Remove or figure it out.
Well, you first. And Grimwald takes a step back towards the entrance.
Are like, can she still see the light fading away, or is it like completely gone at this point?
Yeah, it looks like it is fading away. Like you can get the, you know how you like turn a light off and you can still see that faint glow from the filaments. It looks like it's continuing to fade. Maybe not as quick, but it is fading, as if whatever is glowing there is getting more and more distance.
She puts 2 fingers to her lips and whistles like as loud as she can.
Oh God.
Dinner time, boys. As you do so, it just kind of rings through and echoes through this large location, and you see that that the light still fades.
Okay.
However, Plunk does kind of pull on one of your feet, I guess, because you can't really reach up that high.
He has really shaggy, like up to like, you know how
Yeah, like
Clydesdale,
Clydesdale.
like, up to the knees or whatever is like really shaggy fur.
Yeah. But he pulls and it's like, some of those actually lead to a poo pit.
Ah.
I was trying to avoid that.
What kind of DM would I be if I didn't drag you through this shit?
No.
In our first session.
Listen, you're gonna grow and become awesome people because you went through shit at first, and you're just gonna be great because of it.
Okay. Well, I can't fit in that, so you're gonna have to take us the long way.
He just kind of nods and then, points in the direction of where you came from. Because not everybody's gonna fit through those access tunnels like he can, and he's not gonna do that right now anyway. He's scared shitless.
Pun intended.
I mean, there's a lot of shit around him, but
Here, I've got some shit for you.
But before we leave, Grimwald does want to like try to gauge the size of whatever trampled the mushrooms, if he can, from the footprints.
Yeah, sure. And I'm just not gonna make you roll or anything because it's you're actively looking around, and I'm gonna try to not have you all have to roll as much for this. Because you're actively looking for it, you actually notice upon closer inspection towards some of the actual stalks that are knocked down, you can actually tell that there has been a kobold that has been pressed into the mud and refuse that nobody really noticed, especially not Plunk, with a foot that definitely eclipses its size. Maybe I would say maybe 3 or 4 feet, but it looks like almost like a claw to a degree. Has squished it into the mud and flattened it nearby one of the stalks, as it looks like it's, pushed over.
Oh no. Plunk, you may want to look away.
What?
No, nothing. Yeah. You just meet us in the hallway over there, okay?
Oh, okay.
And he just he takes whatever it is. He doesn't go too far, but he waits in the hallway.
Does it look like a kobold footprint?
Not entirely sure. It does look similar. There seems to be like claws in the mud and refuse and the corpse that resembles something of a claw that a kobold would have on his like back heels. But it is obviously way bigger.
Is there anything distinguishable or interesting about the kobold that was smushed?
Doesn't look like anything distinct. You could just assume that he was probably picking mushrooms. He looks relatively normal aside from the fact that he's flattened.
Oh god. Well, we may have a giant kobold on our hands, fellas. Yeah, I mean, besides it trampling mushrooms, is there anything else interesting about the prince, or does it just look like it's gone on a rampage here?
It looks like there's no rhyme or reason to it. Maybe. I mean, it looks like, if your theory is correct, the idea of it being in a familiar territory comes to mind. You've seen sea life do that, especially if it has been mutated in one way, shape, or form. Tends to revisit familiar areas because it's instinct at that point.
Okay. Well, shall we move on, party?
Yeah, Plunk just nods his head like, yes, please, 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 please.
Might as well.
So, Plunk attempts to get his mount in order and, points in the direction of where you have to re-navigate. And you do have to cut through back by the residential area, but it's a very short visit where Plunk looks noticeably much more calm than he did, but, he wishes that he could stay where where he was instead of going back into what he has called, and Stinky has called, the poo pits.
Plunk, is there any danger of contamination for a top worlder like us in the poo pits?
Yeah.
Are there any precaution we should take?
Don't breathe?
What if we have to breathe?
Oh, maybe wear mask?
Would my bandana suffice?
Yes?
He asks with a question.
Grimwald just kind of sighs and ties his bandana even tighter.
Okay, it's probably a good idea anyway. But yeah, I mean, obviously it's very, very cautious. He's not very optimistic that you won't get sick in any way, shape, or form, but it's not, he doesn't know definitively.
Okay.
But you continue on that way. Give me 1 second here. I'll pull up something. I'll just need a moment. And as you kind of navigate, you start to get to the poo pits entryway, as it were, and it starts to become more of a precarious walking path where the pathways aren't as defined, and when they are defined, it's literally in the middle of probably like a bunch of water. It is not great to navigate. Especially with hooves, but
so long as I don't have to climb up a mount or up a cliff face with my hands, it doesn't take me 4 feet instead of 1 feet. Okay.
That's okay. That's fair. That's fair. Give me 1 second. I am going to get some stuff in order. It may just take me a minute, so you guys can converse or whatever in the meantime.
I was really hoping we wouldn't have to go here.
Yep. Is there a worse place to be?
There's always somewhere worse.
Okay, I'm gonna get some stuff here. It's gonna be funny.
Oh, good.
Okay, so if you all were going down a pathway, I'm assuming Moonbrook would be going first.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Unfortunately. Would you
What I
like?
get for being the HP tank.
It's true. Sorry.
Truth.
You're gonna have to bear with a certain model for the moment.
That's okay.
5 cats did go AFK.
Okay, that's fine. I'm setting stuff up anyway. Okay. Let me set this up.
I'm actually gonna go check on my dog real quick.
Yeah, go for it. Ba 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 ba. Y'all gonna share this on Discord too.
Oh god.
I don't like the sound of this.
It's fine. I'm just laughing because of the model that I had to pick for Moonbrook right now.
Did I have basic bitch model?
More or less, it's just the horse.
I'm just the haunts. I mean, I have my model. Like I have a really basic looking model on Hero Forge done, but
Oh, just to let you know, because I know you have Tailspire now, they do have a sale going on right now for the digital model. You can get for $5, and
I did do that.
you can incorporate that into Tailspire.
Hmm.
Kronos, thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. But yeah, they're having a sale because Tailspire was just released, for whatever reason. I guess it's like one of the official releases.
Yeah, did you see the like one of the spooky season update that they did?
Yes, I do have that update downloaded and everything, and we still have to mess around with this a little bit. Welcome back.
Oh yeah, I'm still learning it too and playing with it often on my days off.
Yeah, but eventually,
Fancy.
when we get this all kind of set up proper, you should be able to join in on this game like via your Tailspire, and then we can just run it that way, so you can control your own person.
Ooh, fancy.
So you have basic models for now. We can figure something out later, but Moonbrook is the horse. Grimwald is a dwarf with a hair, and you are a fancy elf.
I am become full haunts.
I mean, mine's pretty much dead on. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Let's look.
Do I have a
Close enough.
shirt? What am I holding?
No, you're
rabbit.
shirtless and you have a rabbit.
Okay.
You're
My
big.
safety rabbit.
You're big strong dwarf.
As dwarfs do, they just carry dead rabbits.
Yeah, why not?
And every one of these is 5x5.
What's that?
Every one of these squares is a 5x5 thing.
Yeah. We'll consider like 1 square 5 feet, 5 by 5. So you enter into one of the poo pits, and it gets obviously kind of precarious because the surrounding area is just basically, a horrible runoff water, black water. It's not even gray water at that point. It is bad.
Dark water.
Yeah, the smell is terrible. It's probably one of the worst smelling areas you've been in, and it's not a location that a lot of kobolds typically go in on a regular basis. And you can even see that on the shoulders of Moon, the Plunk is basically giving himself a mask as well.
God.
He kind of has like a bandana and ties around his big long nose, his snoot as best as he can. All right, so you tell me, I guess you want to progress?
Not really, but
We're here.
Plunk, what should we expect in these so-called poo pits? Is it exactly what it sounds like?
Yeah, it often place where extra runoff go, where kobolds can't catch. And the only reason we come down here is if we miss something or they're extra runoff from other areas.
Or clogged?
Or clogged. Plunk have seen dead bodies down here before from topside.
Oh. God.
So it's not, you can imagine it's probably not your, normal sewage runoff that goes this way.
Or a dumping ground.
Yeah.
Plug, what kind of weapons are you used to using?
We're not using the kobold.
Weapon?
Yeah. Do you know how to? Do you have a bow?
No.
You had
Do
to
you-
fight for your life. What would you do?
Plunk would scream and run.
Okay, so sonic damage.
Yeah. Psychic damage.
Well, I mean, if we're being honest here, with the new 1D&D Kobold rules, I mean, they kind of get a shout that makes everything stupid.
Well,
Hey.
Moonbrook, after you.
So you can see that there's like a sewage entryway
Yeah,
up ahead.
I'll just move towards that. Fuck off.
Alright.
And I'll closely follow too, yeah.
as will I.
It's not really well lit up here, but you all have you have your stuffs, you have your mushrooms now. Plunk does remind everyone that if you do have a torch, which it's not lit right now, but if you were to like light one up, we would all probably ignite in some way, shape, or form. But maybe
We would have a
advisable not
blast.
to. You would have a blast. But don't.
It's okay. It's just fire damage. Just get immunity to fire damage.
Just be fire retardant. Why? What's forehead? What's the problem?
Exactly.
So as you pass through, you notice that like this is kind of like an entryway to the particular area where they almost had it in the past as like a staging area. You could see where there are like rough tracks on the side where maybe some pallets were stored, but it's been long since they've been able to store anything kind of safely down here. Right now it's just literally scratches against the wall. That look like it's from pallets and wood and, you know, crates and whatnot. But there seems to be nothing else down here at this point in time. So if the kobolds were scared out of here, which Plunk doesn't really go down here regularly, he would offer that information freely. The kobolds would have been scared out to have cleared out everything that they needed to clear out.
They come down here with purpose.
Yes.
I'm just gonna set Plunk on the ground.
Okay. Actually, let me get a. Is there a kobold?
I don't think there's a kobold model.
Yeah, there
Oh,
is.
no. Oh, it's because you had containers selected.
Boop. Wish I could minify him.
I think you can.
I'll mess with it later. He's much smaller. Very small boy. But you plop him down and he just kind of stands and waits for you all to do your things.
I guess I will just move towards the next door.
Yep. And I'll follow along. Say, Plunk, if you hear loud screaming, come save us.
He's just like,
Be the hero you know you can be.
So as you enter in, you can notice that obviously there's a vast assortment of mushrooms that have kind of taken place, and to the far left, there's a bit more debris that's kind of hanging around that particular area.
There's one here,
Oh, sorry. There's more debris on the left-hand side, and it looks relatively fresh. It doesn't look like it's been something that's just been kind of like hanging around here.
So do we want to go check that out? Because it looks new.
Do we see anything else interesting in the area, or does it just look like it's been mainly untouched for a while?
You see the normal pipes and the other passageways where Plunk would likely have access to, but at least around in this immediate area, you don't seem to see anything that kind of grabs your attention for the most part. Nothing looks like overtly out of place. There is another exit to the right side, but it doesn't look like it's got anything that's leading to or from it.
Is there any sound that is out of place?
You hear the dripping of something, and you're not entirely sure if it's just from where you're at, or if it's something that's out of place, just because of the fact that you've not really been in a so-called poo pit before. So you're not entirely sure if it's just the ambient sounds of the sewers or not.
Okay, so we're not hearing any like low grumbles or something anywhere.
No.
Okay.
Do we see any of the yellow light we saw before?
Not in the immediate area. You do seem to see something glowing, vaguely yellow to the right past. Well, not directly right past the rubble, but past the rubble.
I guess I will move forward.
Nay.
I hate you. Nay, Charlie, nay.
Oh, he took my
Go
freaking
ahead.
kidney.
We're going to Candy Mountain, Charlie.
God.
As you kind of round the corner more, you get a better look of what looks to be like. Oh, we're gonna plot this out here. Hold on.
They look dead.
Oh, they do.
Oh no.
So
We're gonna-
long as it's not a mimic, it's okay.
It is a mimic. No, it's not. Gonna get something big. You see, essentially, what looks to be like just a giant monstrosity, kind of hulking over these kind of like they look like they're deceased kobolds, but the dripping that you could have sworn you've heard before is essentially the liquids, the kind of yellow viscous liquids that are falling from this giant monstrosity, and he's just kind of dripping it on the smaller kobolds. And you can see that the yellow viscous fluid is just kind of leaking into their bodies, almost in a very unnatural way. It's not like, oh, I'm just gonna, pour some water on you. It's almost like climbing into them as it's spattered across them in different ways.
Well, I think we should probably get rid of that.
Are you sure that's the best course of action?
Do you have a better idea?
We were told to find this cause and eliminate it. We don't have much of a choice.
Oh.
That thing is oozing with aether. We best be careful.
So it hasn't seen us yet, right? Or like it doesn't seem to be reacting to like us standing here?
No, not yet. If you're relatively hushed, I would assume, so it doesn't seem to notice just yet.
I'm going to rage.
God.
I'm gonna get Madge.
Just like so. Like she grips the like her axe tighter, and you notice that the woad tattoos on her start to glow just ever so faintly, and she lowers her head and charges.
Okay, how?
not like that, but she like dips her head, like you know
Yeah,
how
yeah.
like somebody like haunches their shoulders kind of thing.
Yeah. So everybody can get an action off. Obviously, you're catching whatever this is. You haven't gotten a good look at it just yet, by surprise. So you can all kind of like prepare an action, and then go from there. We'll, go in whatever order we need to, at least for this first action, because it's going to be fair game for anybody at this point. And then we'll have to roll initiative afterwards.
Alright.
All right, so that's obviously something that Moon is prepping. We'll take care of them all at once, but what is Grim and Ava doing? You already noticed that your horsey companion is getting mad and then just running towards this thing
Oh god.
at an alarming rate, by the way.
The casual walk that she had is gone. Like the moment she goes off, she is like a streak of blue and brown. Like
Until streaks of red and brown come out of the enemy.
essentially, yeah.
He is horse Sanic.
55 movement speed.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
That's it. You should be a monk.
At level 3, why would I be a monk? It would only give me 50. I have 55.
But now, if you
50.
multi-class into a monk, you can get even more.
Oh, I know. I don't know worry about that.
If you need a little bit more time, we can resolve Moonbrook's actions first.
Yeah, it's been literal years since I've done D&D combat, so
That's okay.
I'll need a minute.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and charge her up. I almost guarantee you're gonna make that without any issues. That's like 5, 10, 20, 30, yeah, 35. You could literally run a circle around this asshole if you wanted to, and then and then strike him if you really wanted. What are you doing? Go ahead and do your stuff, Moon.
Question. Since this is a quote-unquote sneak attack, do I get advantage?
Sure.
Or surprise round, sorry, not sneak
Yeah, it's
attack.
surprise. Yeah. You don't get sneak attack damage.
You're not a rogue.
There's a 17 hit.
Let me double check. We'll check my notes. Yes, it does.
Cool. It takes 7 points from the axe. And then I use my bonus action for rage. So
Yeah, you used that before you charged in.
yeah, unless you're gonna give me another one, because I can do one more thing.
What is the one more thing? What are you referring to?
I have charge as a centaur. So if I move 30 feet and slap something with a melee weapon, I can attack with my hooves.
I mean, yeah, if you wanted to.
So 21 hit
Yes, I would say it does.
for 6 more bludgeoning damage.
Oh, where are you
All
rolling
right.
these attacks from?
Oh, I'm using Abre in the TPK channel.
So how are you like rolling the?
So when you do something, so like attacks are !A space and then whatever the name of the weapon on your sheet is. So like for the great axe, I just type in great and it automatically pulls the great axe from my list. It's the same with spells. So if you have a spell, you type !cast, then the space, then the spell name. If you're trying to cast a leveled spell, you would type !cast space the spell and then space dash like the little like hyphen L space and then the level of the spell. So like
I believe if you do even !help, it should allow you to see the like a full list of stuff as well. There you go.
Oh, you have an extra piece at the start. Oh, you're just trying. What would it be like?
yeah.
Okay.
So because I don't actually have Chaos Bolt, and if I typed it in, the Abre would just be like, you don't have access to that.
Yeah, I'm gonna use Dissonant Whispers.
So you type exclamation mark cast and then space dissonant, and it will automatically pull it from your.
But
Ooh, is it in the campaign?
yeah.
And make sure it's on your spell list.
Oh, it is on my spell list.
No, it's still saying that it doesn't look like your Discord.
I haven't connected my Discord, but it wants me to freaking log in.
Oh. Well, if you, I was gonna say I could look up because I don't remember any spell crap
You can
at
also
all.
you can also just roll it on D&D Beyond if you already have that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, you whisper a discordant melody that only one creature of your choice within range can hear. Racking it with terrible pain, the target must make a wisdom saving throw of 13. Yeah, there you go.
Is there like an intelligence requirement?
It's a wisdom save DC 13 for.
Yeah, but does it need to know like languages essentially?
It's a deafened target automatically saves on the throw.
Okay.
On a successful save, the target takes half as much damage and doesn't have to move away. If it fails, it has to move its movement speed away from it.
Let me pull that up on your end then. We're gonna find a way to better streamline some of these rolls and stuff for everybody eventually.
Okay. So, Eva, in roll 20, go to your spell list.
You said
Yep.
D&D Beyond.
Oh yeah, sorry, in D&D Beyond, go to your spell list, and I think there is a.
Yeah,
You
there's a
should click
cast button beside it.
Yep. So just click that, and it'll post it into the chat. Or it should post it into the D&D Beyond chat, not the.
Yep, it didn't roll it, but it did take the thing.
Oh, I see it. It's so it would do 9 damage.
Yeah.
All right, let me.
Wisdom 13 for 9 at high damage.
Yeah, let me roll the save. All right, fails. And then you said it moves away. Its movement speed is
On its turn.
its turn. Okay.
Yeah, on its turn, it has to run away from her, and I don't know if it can. Okay. So on a failed save, it takes 3d6 and immediately must use its reaction if available to move as far as its movement speed allows away from her. So, which would probably be like 1 step towards the wall because the wall is in the way.
Yeah. So that'll happen on its turn.
Reaction would be immediate.
Yeah, it uses its reaction if it fails the save.
Okay.
Reaction to the
Yeah.
reaction.
Yeah, that's what it says on the spell.
No, are you gonna react to the movement?
I don't. That's Canon's ruling, but I don't know if on forced movement I get a reaction.
I would say because you've had your like your charge and stuff, we'll just make a judgment call and say it likely because you're in the thick of it. Probably not on this one.
That's fine. I'm not too worried about it.
I know if something else moves you, it doesn't trigger it, but it must use its reaction to move.
Yeah.
So-
He already did.
No, I was just more looking at like the wording on it specifically. That's why I specifically asked if we could.
Oh yeah. No, I get you.
All right, Grim, is anything looking spicy for you?
Yeah, I'm gonna do Scorching Ray.
Ooh.
So you create 3 rays of fire and hurl them at targets within range. You can hurl them at 1 target or several. Make a ranged spell attack for each ray.
So, D&D Beyond. Again, this is a canon call, but D&D Beyond only rolls once for
Yeah.
the spell. So you would have to. So if you want to cast it again 2 more times, right? So you type cast Scorching and then -I, and it would not take a spell slot. So I'll type it. I can type it out for you real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, otherwise it's gonna poop your spell slots up.
I did that anyways, so.
No, it does. Yeah, it does it for the first one all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, that shouldn't have done that. I might have done it the wrong way. I'm trying to hang on. I gotta remember the command to give you your spell slot back.
Yeah, because I haven't really worked with Ebre. So I appreciate you you weighing in on this.
Okay, now I think it should work next time.
Okay.
Okay, so I
Remember
have
my
my-
password.
It's the same command.
Okay, so we'll calculate everything here though. So we've got. Let me write this down.
12 to hit.
Yeah, that hits, and then the
Yeah, that's for 4.
yeah,
And then there's a 20 to hit for 8.
yeah.
And that's fire damage.
Okay, and then I gotta do quick maths. And then okay, right. All right, I think I have logged it. All right, so I know that was the. I don't know. Did anybody move anywhere? I know that obviously Moon did, but did Grim or Ava move anywhere?
Nope.
Mm,
It was
nope.
staying pretty far back.
Yeah, same with Grim.
All right, so you guys are pretty much there. No movement at all. Okay, all right. Well, I guess because Duder was not entirely aware of what the hell was going on, he just got the backside of him pummeled. And as you all were throwing your flurry of attacks at him and whatnot, especially Moonbrook, you could definitely tell that this is not quite your average being. You're not entirely sure because you've not really encountered anything like it before either, but you can tell that the flesh of it is a bit softer than probably what you're used to. As you're cutting into the back, you know, this kind of thick fluid permeated with a bit of that like glowing fluorescent yellow comes spewing out of it in such a way that it's almost like molasses. It's very grody and gross, but eventually after it has been forced into the back of a corner, it does turn around, and you could tell that it is just this monstrosity of what Grim assumed to be true, of like a mutated kobold to some degree that has just been enlarged and distorted and disfigured by the aether spill off, wherever that may be, that's happened. So I guess we all need to roll initiative.
What's the command for initiative on this one?
It's not set up here. I thought it was /fight or exclamation point fight.
Incorrect usage. Help initiative for help.
In it?
Is that something I have to set up on my end?
Hang on. I can double check for you real quick.
Previous games had mostly everybody rolling from within their character sheets, which it doesn't.
It's fine. I was gonna say we can use the character sheets right now because you have to actually set that up in the channels or whatever.
Oh, gotcha. This is not a combat check.
Grim, type exclamation point SS2+1, and if that doesn't work, there's another option. Try exclamation point G space SS.
Okay, that didn't pull.
Hey, there you go.
Nice.
It didn't pull the roll, but I got a 12.
Okay, I'll keep it in mind.
I rolled 8 on initiative.
And I rolled a 9.
Oh.
All right. Let me make my notes. Okay. 9. Moon. 8.
Sorry, to figure out the spell slot stuff, I had to go to my other Discord and change into my caster character.
All right, let me roll him. For it. Oh, rolled a 16.
Ooh.
Huh?
Row.
That's fine. It's wanting to be friendly with you, right? It's just gonna hug you. That's all.
We're not gonna get TPK in our first encounter.
It's fucking name be damned.
That's totally not the name of our campaign, TPK.
All right, let me see here. Okay, as it starts to realize that it has more in front of it than it initially had, obviously no longer corpses, you can start to tell that something starts to pulsate from within all those little kobolds that it was kind of over, from within, and starts to animate those particular corpses to a degree, and a very sickening, like, you can hear the flesh just kind of like slapping against whatever muscle is remaining to be there, and something cracks and tendons just kind of grind together, as movement from within the bodies of these smaller kobolds start to kind of, like, come to life. Meanwhile, it is going to exact some justice on the closest offender. And all right, give me 1 second here. We're gonna see what happens. This is definitely an offensive thing that it's gonna do. What is your AC, Moon?
13.
Whew, all right. So you're gonna take that. So it's gonna basically punch and then swipe at you, or like a multiple attack on your particular horse body. I will roll both first, and then we'll go and resolve everything.
Okay.
Oh my god. Okay, so that is a miss, thankfully. When it punches at you, it is going to do... It is going to do 11 damage. And it does knock you back 10 feet away from itself.
Oh wait, that's halved, haha, because it's bludgeoning damage, right?
Yeah. It would be bludgeoning damage. And you are mad girl right now, so. But at the end of its turn, you can start to see that these kobolds basically start to rise. I can remember how to get them back up. I think it's like, I don't think they're dead.
All I could think of is that meme is, please don't hit me, I'm only level, I have 3 HP! You kill me, please, no!
Alright. So turn Ava? Yeah.
Yep. Alright, I'm going to cast Shatter.
All right, remind me. I'm an old man.
It's in the TPK general chat.
Finally freaking working.
Oh, cool.
So there's a sudden loud ringing, painfully intense. I want to get it. It's a 10-foot radius. I want to get as many enemies in that 10 foot as I can. And a Constitution saving throw for 3d8 thunder, which is 16.
By the way, like, quick, like, out of character here thing. For a level 2 spell, that is busted.
Yeah, that's a lot of damage. You can probably get these 3, because obviously it's like, if you do it from here, it will get big guy.
I can't see where you're pointing.
Well, it'll get on the left-hand side. You can get like the 2 kobolds on the left-hand side. I don't know if you have the Discord stream up.
Yeah, I got your Discord stream. So it's like the back left side of the monstrosities, kind of the point of origin.
Yeah.
Which causes the 3 in the back, the big guy and the 2 on the left getting hit, and the guy on the right safe.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, and you said it was what? The DC?
DC 13 Constitution saving.
Con save? Okay. Let me see here.
Don't hit me, I'll die. I only have 3 hit points.
It's big guy. Big guy is cool. He saved it, so he'll do what, half?
10.
Little guy fails. Is the other little guy? Little guy definitely fails.
Ooh.
All right. So the 2 littles take 16, and the big guy takes 8.
Okay.
Thunder damage.
All right. So as soon as these start to raise, you like concentrate with shatter, and just like this deafening sound obviously comes down and like emanates from his back hind leg, and these 2 kobolds are just like absolutely blown the shit away. Like the sound enough for these 2 kobolds to take was so shattering that the skin and bones that were reanimated were just blown off of whatever frame that they had. Good job. You obliterated some reanimated kobolds.
I'm glad Plunk isn't here.
Yeah, he'd be like, "Oh my God, Jimmy!" But
My cousin.
Stacy.
but for lack of a better term, you basically pasted these 2 little guys. They just like, and just like that was it.
How's big guy looking?
He just looks pissed. Like he doesn't, as far as you could tell, he just looks pissed off. Finn. As far as like damage on his body is concerned, it's very hard to determine considering he looked fucked up to begin with. You know, like he was just a.
There was a ton of aether pouring out of him to begin with. You couldn't tell what was there before and what's new.
Yeah, like it was the body had somehow mended and sewed itself together in such an abominated manner that it's very hard to tell like where it was damaged before and what you are doing now.
All right.
So, I believe Moon is next. Yeah, Moon then Grim. Finn, please. We need to set up another monitor for this.
You're good.
How many monitors you got?
I've got 2 right now, but I've got more that I could set up. It's just I've got so many tabs and shit open.
Welcome to DMing, right?
Yeah, I know.
Time to, just, do that horse thing where I like stomp my foot on the ground and then charge forward again.
Okay, all right. So are you doing an actual like charge again?
No, I have to move 30 feet if I want to do that.
Okay. So you move forward and you're just like, "Wah!"
But I am gonna do something.
Ooh.
and I'm gonna crit fish because I'm gonna use reckless attack.
Okay.
Does a 14 hit?
Yes, yeah, they do.
Alright, cool. It takes 12 damage. 12 slashing damage.
Oh, slashing.
Actually, it's 14 because I have +2 because I'm raging.
That is true. Just remind me of things like that.
You're good.
Yeah, I got it down. You just with your big battle, was it great axe, right?
Yeah, it's great axe.
Your big great axe, you just slice another like big chunk. It's almost like if you've seen a butcher before, where they just artfully carve through something to prep it for a meal. This kind of happens the same. It goes a little bit too smoothly through the meat because for whatever reason, this thing is definitely not natural. And it doesn't seem to be phased. It does not seem to be phased. You are obviously damaging it in some ways, but as you cut through that portion of its like stomach to inner thigh, there seems to be more and more of that viscous yellow revealed, and from within you could see something like pulsating.
Blech.
Blech.
And that's my turn because that's all I got.
There you go, Grim.
All right.
Sorry, Ben. I've got it disabled.
Yeah, if you have any questions, I can just type them out so that way you can.
All right, so that's right. I had it ready. What is cast again?
It's just exclamation point cast space
Okay.
and then the spell name.
Spell name, right?
And then if it's a leveled spell, so anything above level, anything above level 1, it's dash L and then space the level.
Gotcha.
Cantrips, you just type cast in the name and it automatically casts it.
Gotcha. Alright, cool. I cast Nilok's Snowball Storm. So a flurry of magic snowballs erupts from a point I choose, so within a 5-foot radius. I was hoping to get the big guy and the kobold within that, if I can do that, or yeah, just the one.
Yeah, you should be able to.
Okay. And basically, each creature in there must make a dexterity saving throw. Otherwise, they take 3d6 cold damage on a failed or half on a successful. So 13, or DC 12, 13 to hit.
Okay, big guy. Alright, he succeeds.
So half 13 for him.
And then, yeah, it'd be 16 total for the little guy.
Oof.
So 2 successes, so half of 13.
You roll, round up.
So 7. Yep.
7 apiece. Well, the little kobold basically just like starts to freeze up and then collapses. It looks like it's just unable to do anything anymore because of the fact that it became so frozen because of the actual ice in its veins at that point in time. So it started to slow whatever was animating it to a halt, and it kind of like shatters a bit of its limbs as it collapses to the ground.
Poor guy.
Do not pity them. And then just figuring out that, and then obviously the snowball that hits the biggin localizes obviously in a specific area on its chest, and it freezes up a little bit, but it doesn't seem to be like it's reacting to it at all. All right, so that's round 1. All right, round 2. Big guy's up. As a reaction, it is going to swipe up one of these little guys and just smush it, essentially. One of the guys that has been pasted, it's gonna pick up and literally take it and rub it into one of its wounds. And it starts to meld with the actual duder himself. The big mutated kobold, and you start to see like the wound. What's that?
That's cheating.
You cheated. The body is just like absorbed into the wound as it's continuing on its way to probably ruin someone's day. But you can see the wound kind of trying to close it around this extra body part as like a limb is sticking out of what would have been the gaping wound that Moonbrook gave to it. So I'm gonna roll something real quick. Alright. And then we are going to it's gonna try to swipe at Moonbrook at this point in time. What was your AC again?
13.
That is a hit.
Okay.
It's going to, after it swipes, do a is it going to be contested grapple at this point in time? Can't remember if they've changed it. Is it contested strength?
What are you trying to do?
Grapple.
If it's like an on hit effect, no, it just usually just happens.
It just does it now. I'm so
Yeah,
used to
as far as
being
that-
contested.
I think it depends on the monster. Usually it says it in the book, but I mean we could do contested if you want. That's fine.
Let's just do contested right now.
So I'm just rolling a strength check.
Yeah, I'd much rather it be dramatic. It has a 22.
Yeah, I rolled a 19.
Hold on.
Ooh.
Oh my god. I wish you would have rolled higher.
It's okay.
Okay, so it does just grab the shit out of you. And it is just using it's picked you up right now. It does hit for some damage from the first one, but it is bludgeoning, so you'll take reduced damage from that anyway. But it does grapple you in the meanwhile. So let me roll your damage that you need to take. Place is gonna be littered with dice. So take 5 total once it's halved. Because you're so mad.
So mad.
Alright, Ava.
Alright. First thing I'm going to do is call out to Moon and go, "You're better than this. You can break out and use my bardic inspiration."
Ooh.
Whoa.
Cups.
What do I use to just dash a exclamation A bardic?
I think it's just exclamation mark bardic. I don't know because I don't really play a bard often, but
No.
There
Yep,
you
there
go.
it is.
Ah.
So you get a 1d6 to your next ability.
hog. And the horse is
Alright.
being horse-handled. Help!
Horse handled.
I'm being haunts-handled.
And then I'm going to use vicious mockery to mock the fact that this thing has to resort to such barbaric means. So DC 13 wisdom saving.
Again, do we know if it needs to have a certain intelligence?
It does not for vicious mockery. The spell
Okay.
tells you.
Yeah.
It needs to have a certain...
If the target can hear me, it does not even need to understand me.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure because I could have sworn it was like you have to understand it, but that's cool.
When cutting sarcasm literally hurts.
Yeah. No, it's gonna take damage. 2?
All right, so 2 damage and disadvantage on the next attack roll.
Okay.
You're thinking, by the way, Canon, you're thinking of spells like suggestion and command and stuff like that. Those are the ones where they have specific intelligence ranges.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's other ones that are like, yeah, you can only use this on creatures that are at least this smart.
If it has an intelligence of 4 or less, good luck.
Yeah, yeah, this thing has to be at least dolphin or smarter.
All right. Ava, or not Ava, the Moon. Sorry.
Yep. That's right.
Really, I could attack it, but I also don't want to be standing here because I don't like being grabbed. So I'm going to contest. I'm going to try and break free.
Break those cuffs. Oof. All right.
And it's what, athletics to break the grapple, or is it? It's athletics or acrobatics, right?
Strength or acrobatics, player choice according to rules.
I like how it's just like, yeah, look it up.
Of course, I roll a 10. Even with advantage, I roll double 7s. Fuck my life.
Oh.
Oof.
Yeah, it rolled a 23. If this thing has something going for it, it is strength.
It's okay, that's my turn.
I was gonna say, would you like to talk? I mean, I don't know what else.
Help!
Help!
Helpers! Helpers!
Stop letting it horse handle me.
Quit horsing around. No, sorry.
Oof. Too far.
Oof.
You can't make those jokes, only I can. That's horsist.
I'm sorry, that was very insensitive of me.
If you keep making these jokes, your voice is gonna get hoarse.
Ooh.
I hate it here.
All right, Grim.
Alright. Grim is not much to do here. He's just gonna cast Magic Missile, I think.
All right.
Try that. Okay.
It's gonna pew pew.
I'm gonna do a little pew pew. Oh, for
That's-
2 damage?
Well, it's a
Total damage 6.
Yeah, 6.
6.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah,
so
it's a magic missile, unlike Scorching Ray, where you make an attack for each one. Magic missile is just you hit the target.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that at least.
Yeah, you don't have to aim, so to speak. It just does it. All right, so
Cool.
6 more, right? Right.
I think
6.
I am gonna have to go soon too. About the end of the night for me.
Okay. Yeah, we
I hate
can.
to do it in the middle of this. Yeah.
No, it's all right. We can always continue it later at some point as well. But yeah. Let's I guess let's get through. Can you do one more round and then we'll be done?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. So that is the end of that round. We'll get this one last round in real quick, and then yeah, we'll call it for the moment. It is pretty late.
Disadvantage on attacks.
Yes. Okay. So, really quick, let me make sure I'm within the confines of the rules that I have for it. It is... okay. Let's see here. All right. With Moon grappled, it is going to move up. Let me make sure I've got its movement speed.
I swear to God, if this thing uses me as a fucking improvised weapon.
Whatever would you talk about? I don't know what you're talking about.
I feel an improvised weapon moment coming on.
Is that strong enough to move the centaur? Holy crap.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Sadly, it is pretty damn strong.
I rolled 2 20+ in contested grapples with me, and I have advantage on strength.
Yeah, it's this is yeah. So anyway, with horse in hand, it is going to move as much as it can and then literally throw Moon at the two of you.
Oh god.
When the party takes 40 damage.
So I mean, it's not. That's why I don't want to say that. I'm gonna shut my mouth. It's like it's not that much. Well, it could be.
It's not that much unless we're playing as raw, which accounts for weight.
We're not gonna be that penalizing. So obviously there's a couple of different options that you two have. I think Moon is probably gonna be taking some damage regardless, but that's what you get for being an HP tank.
Yeah.
You can roll reaction to get out of the way. Or you can get hit and essentially roll athletics to try not to be knocked prone by a horse lady on you.
Alright, can I acrobatics out? Or is this like a dexterity saving?
Yeah. You can acrobatics out. I'll allow that.
Okay. Which is like C acro?
Yep.
Yep.
Let me double check here. All right. We'll say that makes it. It was pretty obvious with its attack. Grim, you're more than welcome to try if you want as well.
Ooh, okay. I tried acrobatics too and rolled a 6.
All right, that's gonna be a hit on you at least.
Yeah, but taking horse to a face. Sorry.
Yeah, you take horse damage.
Horse damage. Yeah. I
Uh,
have horse damage.
I hate it here.
where Ava? Where do you want to move? I'll let you move like five in whichever direction that you want to get out of the way.
I'm gonna move to the left.
Okay.
Yep, like that.
All right. Cool. So that's you out of the way. Grim, go ahead and roll a athletics check for me at the very least to see if you go prone. Because you have now horse.
I actually got a 14, so.
Okay. Yeah. That just barely makes it to survive horse. And let's just roll some damage for you too.
I accept the consequences of my actions.
You started all this.
Moon, take 10.
It's 5.
But
because-
it's bludgeoning. Yeah. Oof. Okay. So 3 for Grim. Okay, that's good.
Okay.
Fun fact: you just got hit with a woman who weighs about 2,000 pounds. How do you feel?
Bad, but also kind of good.
Death by snoo.
Yeah,
Hey, don't kink shame.
exactly.
All right. So we'll get Ava next.
Yeah, so Ava is going to cast Healing Word on the horse.
All right. There you go.
So 7. And Healing Word's a bonus action, so I'm going to Vicious Mockery on the big guy again.
Okay. Go for it.
Oh, wow. Wisdom DC 13.
No, you got it.
Two move psychic, and then disadvantage on attack.
All right. All right, Moonbrook.
Alright. How far away from me is it?
5, 10, 15.
I back up 15 feet and then charge it again.
You've got the distance. You.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna count that shit. The Grim, you hear like almost like a whinny, but definitely like a pissed off growl as the moon gets up, circles around you, and then fucking hauls ass back in. Like she got tossed out of a fucking bar, and then she hasn't had enough to drink, and just right back into the fray.
For 4.
That's your first, right? You get your charge attack. Your hooves. Your hooves do more than your great axe right now. Oh my god! All right.
One pissed off horse.
All right, gotcha. So again, oddly enough, you try to like cut open a new wound on its stomach as it threw you across one of your compatriots, and like it doesn't cut as deep, but for some reason you just like whinny kicking it in its balls or where its balls would be does way more damage than you can tell. You crushed a lot more with your hooves.
Angry cursing in Sylvan.
All right, and then we'll make this the last one, Grim.
All right, I cast Firebolt,
Ooh.
and to hit 11.
Literally one of the best cantrips in D&D.
And damage 9 if it hits.
It
Eldritch
does.
Blast is the only one better.
It does not hit, sadly.
Oh.
I will tell you this: you were almost hitting it at that point. So you just like a fireball gets cast, or the firebolt gets cast, and it just like whiffs over his shoulder onto the back wall, and sparks just spurt everywhere.
I guess a little woozy from being horsed in the face.
Yeah, you were horsing around too much, and guess what happens? We'll pause there, and then we'll take it up. It shouldn't take us too long, obviously, next time to kind of resolve this, and we'll move on, and you guys can do whatever you need to do, unless TPK actually happens, which I doubt. You guys are looking competent right now, I'll tell you that.
I was gonna say, if there's a day like during the week or whatever, if we want to continue, it's up to you guys. But
Yeah,
I'm almost always free.
Yeah, I could do a shorter session during the week, whenever. So
Okay.
Monday's my day off, so
We'll talk.
Yeah, we have to end closer to like an hour or an hour and a half ago for me, but
Yeah, like this is only this late because it's weekend, but we'll talk more in the channel, and then we'll go from there.
no worries.
good.
yep. You haven't noted that he's got disadvantage on his next attack.
Let me see. Actually, I'll probably mark it on his little sheet here. Let me do that.
I'm done horsing around. Can you? I'm never gonna make the puns in character, but I know at some point I'm just gonna do it unintentionally and be like, well, this is my life now.
How many of you were researching puns?
But yeah, as a bard, I may not necessarily have a very strong cantrip, but the utility is ridiculous.
Oh
the
yeah,
words are great.
yeah. I enjoy having bards in any kind of any party, really.
But yeah, best cantrip is easily Eldritch Blast. Firebolt is a close second. Situationally, there's a couple others that are really good as well. Depending on if you're fighting depending what type of enemy you're fighting, kind of thing.
Well, Toll the Dead is good no matter what enemy you're fighting, so long it doesn't have a resistance to necrotic damage.
Yeah, I think that was one of the ones that's like.
Thank you for the session, Dadden.
No problem. It was fun running you all, and we'll get it resolved, and we'll continue as long as everybody's cool with it, and go from there.
Yeah, no worries. Just
Awesome. Yeah, this was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Okay, we got all the technical kinks worked out this time.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Thanks. Oh my.
Don't technical kink shame me.
Oh my.
We'll go from there. But like I said, we'll chat more in the channel, and then we'll pick out something. We'll kind of bang this out of the way, and I'll start writing for your next session a little bit.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right.
Good night,
Thank you all.
nerds.
We'll see you.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Okay. Yeah, we got a little bit delayed here and there, but that's okay. You know, sometimes nights run a little bit longer than expected, and other times you're a little bit quicker than expected. But I guess that's the fun part about this, right? You're just coming together and having fun with friends and running games and doing silly stuff. But we'll resolve this soon, and we'll get that playtime in to get this little adventure. The memes were great. I'm glad you had fun. We'll get this adventure wrapped up, at least this session, and then we'll have a little bit more that we'll kind of discuss, I guess, as stuff moves on. But yeah, I'm planning the other sessions already. I think I may have something coming up that may delay some things, but I'm not. I have to finalize everything, and we'll go from there. But obviously, if you're interested in playing, or at least want to see a little bit more behind the scenes, join the Discord. It is listed down below. I do plan on streaming this at least per group once a month, which is going to be nice and comfy for I think everybody involved. It will get more regular if I can afford to do so, but for right now, it's just going to be once a month, whenever, and I'll try to announce it ahead of time and mark the events in the Discord. So right now, I'm gonna go ahead and go and relax and probably pass out 'cause I'm tired. And you all have a good rest of your night, and we'll see you soon.